Good evening, everyone. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Supervisor McGlasson.
Here.
Councilwoman Campbell.
Present.
Councilman Tempori.
Here.
Councilman Ruthven was absent tonight, or will he be coming?
I believe he's out for tonight.
Okay.
All right.
And Councilman Boyd.
Here.
Thank you. Our first item on the agenda is our public hearing for the tax cap, so I make a motion to open the public hearing for the 2026 tax cap.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So unfortunately, we have to go over the 2% this year for the budget. I'm just wondering now if you should do, I'm looking at Christina, the presentation first, and then, are we allowed to do that? Can we do the presentation first? Okay.
Sure.
I think we're gonna start with the presentation that we have for the budget, and then we'll go into that. So that way everyone can see.
The
Are you
motion
okay?
wasn't carried, so
So,
that's fine.
yep. Sorry, Christina. Christina Cahill, our Director of Finance.
Can everyone see the screen? I know
I think
that
we're
it's...
gonna,
Okay, so this is our 2026 preliminary budget. So this first slide basically, again, just shows you how your tax dollars are distributed. The blue is the school tax. That is the majority of the tax. The orange here is the town tax and then the county. The changes, this one shows the changes in tax rates. I know it's a little hard to see. I did print some copies. There's still some left there if you want to see, but it basically shows you over the years how the tax rates were for school, town, and county. So with the new 2025 to 2026 estimate rates, after the reassessment, you can see how they dropped. So they dropped significantly for school, town, and county. I know this is definitely hard to see, so I apologize. So this is the preliminary budget where it shows all the funds, departments, the tax levy, what we're asking to increase, and the percentages and all. And this is, we updated it from what we posted because the reason why is on November 4th, the library budget was, went to vote and it passed, increased it $81,000. So this is the difference between the previous one that we posted on the website to what it is being proposed now. So this is showing you basically how all the funds are distributed. So the blue is the general fund. The general fund includes basically all the departments that are not special districts. The only one that I split out was the police department, so you can see where a lot of those funds are towards the police department. But the rest of the general fund basically includes like the EMS, the building, recreation, and all those sorts. And then you have the highway and all the special districts, which are very small portions of the budget. So this is your general fund. I included what was the original budget. In the original budget, the amount at the bottom, the net, which is your revenues minus your expenses, produced, basically, we had more expenses, 609,000 of expenses over revenues. That is considered a fund balance. So for the 2025 taxes, that fund balance was used to offset so that, you know, they matched. So that's where the tax levy comes in place to determine what the amount is going to be by that fund balance. So realistically, for 2026, we are not using any fund balance. Again, I just want to reiterate, fund balance is a savings reserve that the town has. So, and I'll get to that in future slides, where it's very important to keep that at zero for obvious reasons, because you want to save those funds for emergency purposes, not to budget budget. So why are we increasing the general fund? All the increases we're increasing are just really to cover like mandatory, like recurring costs that you need to increase. So obviously payroll is a big one. So we understand that, you know, residents are concerned how much budget goes to salaries, but just to give you perspective, our town employees are actually paid a lot less compared to other local municipalities. For the last 7 years, all our union staff have only received 2% raises, which is less than the cost of living adjustment. These are the cost of living adjustments per Social Security. As you can see, the 2%, our employees are actually making less because they're earning less than what inflation is. Then we have our union and police contracts. These contracts are negotiated by the town with union reps, and they're legally binding. So the town really is very limited control over how much these costs can change. For 2026, the town supervisor and the town council agreed to a 0% increase. We had a recreation assistant position that we had. We are not filling that position to save costs. The town supervisor is going to assume the responsibility of handling that. Comes to about, between the salary, benefits, and retirement, it's about $78,000 in savings. Also, my role, the director of finance role, is now full-time. As compared to previous years, it was part-time. And also, the 2026, the contribution rates for the employment retirement system, these are set by New York State. We do not control the rates whatsoever. They come straight from the Office of the State Comptroller. So again, they increase every year, and they increase pretty significantly. As you can see, these are the retirement contributions. They have gone up significantly. Health insurance. So for the last 3 years, they've been pretty constant with about a 5%. It's probably going to go up this year for 2026, but for now, I'm assuming a 5% increase. Part of the increase for the general fund is the Town of Kent Police Department is requesting that we purchase 2 new vehicles. They come to about $150,000. It's part of their contract that any vehicle that hits over 80,000 miles, they have to be checked to see if they're safe and reliable. In the past, and I got this information from our chief, he said that in the past, they were only really allowed to budget 1 police car if they were lucky. So this caused major problems because as the older vehicles broke down, it led to higher repair costs. And then there was fewer cars available for patrol. And then that caused the newer cars to be used more, which now they wore out more faster. Luckily, though, in past years, we were able to use ARPA funds and other grants, and we were able to buy some vehicles, but that helped temporarily. Now we are unable to get any more grants, so it is very needed where they have to get 2 new police cars. And again, it's in their contract. They can't drive more than the 80,000. Now, just so you know, though, when they retire the cars, we don't get rid of them. They do get recycled with other departments. So they get use out of them. Again, also the Kent Library, as I mentioned, that increased by 81,000, which was voted by town residents. Vehicle insurance is another cost that continuously rises due to inflation and increased parts and prices, and obviously ongoing supply chain challenges. The town of Kent does manage these expenses by requiring our drivers to get defensive driving courses so that it can reduce the cost of the insurance. Utilities is another one. As I'm sure all of you have had ongoing complaints with NYSEG. The costs have been outrageous for the last couple of years. The town of Kent has been faced with the same challenges, so that's a big increase. Then our revenue has gone down in what we're receiving. Franchise fee revenue, most people now are using streaming services, so we aren't getting as much franchise revenue as we have in the past. So for 2026, I had to basically reduce it to meet more realistic expectations. Also, our building permit fees were down. I know for 2025, we over budgeted for these fees. I had to basically lower them to basically match what has happened historically. The next is the highway fund. So the highway fund, again, this is our original budget, the tentative and the preliminary. We did reduce costs in both general and the highway from the tentative. We reduced it pretty significantly. For the highway, though, in 2025, there was no fund balance, as you can see. Reason is they have no fund balance. They have deficit. Now, they're asking for an increase because snow removal and road maintenance. So Over the last couple years, we had unexpected snowfall. This is stuff we cannot control. Also, the rising costs for materials such as blacktops. So since since COVID-19 and the pandemic, the cost of materials has increased approximately 46%. So this has strained the budget for the highway, hence why they are in a deficit. So as a result, the gap between budget amounts and actual spending has contributed to that deficit. And then they have their payroll and benefits. Highway is union employees. Again, these are rates that are negotiated through union reps. The town has very limited control over those rates. Our Kent Sewer District is another one of our special districts that is in a deficit. Reason being is because over the years, the contractual costs have risen considerably. Now, if you looked at the budget and you're questioning why their actuals to date are low, it is because there is a current outstanding invoice that we have not paid. It's been ongoing since January because we are questioning it, and the town is requesting backup so that we can make sure that it's accurate before we process the payment. Also, this year, we had to pay $22,000 to install a new pump. These are, again, emergency repairs that we can't control. And then we also have a judgment that was against the town of Kent. It was a lawsuit from 2016 where the town had to pay, it was roughly $467,000. The bill was not for that much. The bill was not getting paid, so it went to court. We lost. We still weren't paying it, or they weren't paying it, and then we were forced to pay it. So of that money, again, it was significantly lower. The town now has to pay more, and right now they have the whole bill was paid from the general fund. Now the general fund is not a special district, so they had to basically lend the money to the sewer district, and now the sewer district owes about $398,000. About 60 has been paid off already. Now, in the budget, you will see a line item that says transferred on the funds for $10,000. That is in the event that the sewer district has a surplus, they will pay $10,000 of that every year per surplus that they have back to the general fund until they finish paying this big $398. The Lake Carmel Sanitation is another special district that is in a deficit. Reason as well, again, is sanitation contractual costs have increased exponentially. In 2024, the town had to purchase a new dump truck for $248,000, which resulted in a higher deficit. We do have a corrective plan in place at the moment where we do raise the tax levy $50,000 every year to pay that back, because not to pay that back, I'm sorry, to reduce their deficit, because they are in a really big deficit, which in the end of the slide, you'll be able to see where our current deficits are. The water district, again, they also have a deficit, and it's because of emergency repairs that were done on a system that was very old. These repairs could have been less costly had they been addressed many years ago, but they didn't, so throughout the years, now we had to make repairs on a very old system, and it was very costly. So again, why are we in such a dilemma? The reason is all these years that are in red, the taxes were raised at 0%. They didn't even meet 2% of whatever the tax cap, they didn't even meet that. So again, while tax revenue stayed flat, everything else increased as naturally. Inflation went up, salaries increased, the rising cost of goods. So what happened in those years, why you were able to get a 0% tax increase, is because when the budgets were done, those numbers that you see at 0 were because fund balances were used to fill in those gaps. So when I showed you earlier, when you have revenues minus expenses is your fund balance, it basically was where you're supposed to make those equal. So you could be in a perfect world, right? Your revenues, your expenses. Whatever you get from taxpayers is your estimating to be your expenses. So in those years, the reserves, the savings that the town had were being used to fill those gaps. And that's a significant problem because now we're in the mess that we are to try to get back to where we're in a stable financial things. So in these years, from 2023, our auditors actually expressed concerns in our financial statements that are audited, they're online. They expressed concerns that our fund balances now were really low. So at the time, that is the first time the current town board now stopped doing that. Well, not stopped, they weren't doing it, but they started imposing a tax increase. So in 2023 was the first year, and since then, we've had to break the tax cap because little by little, we have to get back to, a stable ground. So in order to really fix the current situation and get our fund balances back to where we need to be because again, fund balance is supposed to be used for emergency purposes, not to balance a budget. So because that was done, in order to fix now the general fund doesn't have a deficit, it's just low. The other special districts have deficits. In order to fix those deficits, you have to actually increase it gradually over time, more than the minimum required, in order to start getting the fund balances back. Because what happened was, and the reason why the general fund now is lower, is the general fund had to basically lend the money to the special districts to be able to pay those bills, and now the only way to get them back to positive is by giving back the money, but there's no money to give because we don't have it. So gradually over time, the corrective plan to fix this is by increasing taxes at a minimum. Now, for this year, we just basically broke even, where we're not using any fund balance, but we're also not paying it back. The only district that we're correcting for right now is that $50K for the sanitation department. Everyone else is just zero across the board, no fund balance, because anyway, there is no fund balance. But that's why your taxes may seem like the increase is higher, because we're not using that fund balance. Because we could use, this one here is your fund balances from 2015 to 2024. I know it's hard to see, but if you were to add up all the funds, in 2015, we were at about $8 million in fund balance. When we got to 2024, at the end of 2024, total net is 1.4. That just shows you how significantly it went down. All these negatives, these are all the special districts that have negatives. So right now, at the end of 2024, again, this doesn't include 2025, 2025 is not done yet for me to give you accurate numbers. The general fund it went from 5.4 million to 2.8. We cannot touch that. Again, that is for emergency purposes. So these negatives, in order to fix that, again, I cannot reiterate this enough. In order to fix that for a long-term plan, the taxes eventually will have to gradually be higher than what we ask, because that'll be able to get us back to a positive. And then that positive will make the general fund more positive, because in essence, they're paying it back. So that's my presentation. Does anyone have any questions? I'm sure you do. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Can you give us the lights?
Chief's on it.
I tried to put it in order of the numbers. So page 26, I'll start off with my favorite subject, the EMS. And I think that's a big reason that the town has also had to increase the budget. And I understand the town board had no choice but to do that, and they're worth getting paid. Absolutely, they have to put in a lot of hours. But I feel personally it should be under the county. I feel that the county exec put this onto the town. We don't have businesses that absorb, other towns don't have police departments. They have more business than we do. I believe that, I would hope that maybe in January that the town board, and I'll go to the meetings, will start saying to the county executive, you have a big surplus, a very large surplus. He was able to put property taxes down, but he threw this on to the town. You could keep all the substations in all the towns and still just have, because everybody does mutual aid, and then just have it have it run through the county, let it be their employees, their liability, their retirement, their insurance, and that's how I feel. That's my thing on the EMS.
Well, I guess we'll start going to the meetings together come January.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, hold on. On the alternates and the planning board, I'm just making you aware that there's 7 members, not 6, and plus 2 alternate, page 34.
Which budget? You have the tentative budget or the?
No, I took, no, Jamie made a copy for me the other day.
Oh.
Page 34.
My 34 is different. That's why I asked.
Get closer to the mic so that people can hear you.
This is the one that you gave me,
Yes.
page 34?
Is it not the right?
No,
Uh,
that might be the tentative one.
I think it's the preliminary that I printed out.
It does say six.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you that,
Six members.
I don't know if you have to adjust that number or not, but it's
Okay.
7 members plus 2 alternates. And the zoning has 5 members. They used to have 2 alternates. I don't know if they have alternates anymore. Just pointing it out. And why do we have $60,000 for landfill?
Oh, we had for the storms.
Can we give him a microphone or
We
something?
had 4 state emergencies,
Okay.
and the leaves were getting done year from year, and I was given an order by the DEC, I had to truck all the leaves out. They weren't supposed to be dumped there, and they were continuously dumped, so I had to truck all the leaves out, which I am mixing with soil, and I'm using it as, fill up our shoulders of our roads.
Okay. I was wondering why the 60,000 was in it, because we should just mow it, so. And the sewer district. That I did speak with our liaison to the sewer district about, the bill seems to be from the Barton and Ludis proposal is completely under the sewer district. And when I asked the question before you guys had voted on it, you said it might be used for grants, New York Forward and stuff like that. So I said to Sean, I don't feel like we should be burdened with the whole amount for that.
Yeah, so we talked about, like, chopping it possibly. So I talked to Jamie about it, but I haven't talked to any of the board members yet about it. But I think that Ann was the same as I would. I don't know if when we first did it, we were both kind of in the air where it was
Right.
going to land. So I don't know how you feel about that, Ann. Is she down there? Yes. The $35,000 fee for Barton
I remember
LaJudas.
questioning it at the time.
Right.
So what are you proposing for how that's to be
At
covered?
the time when I said, where are you taking the money, the town board wasn't sure.
I know.
And then you said it could be used for grants further down the line, and Sean's, when we just talked about it recently, we talked about if it was split, but to put that money on 40 people that have properties is a big nut.
I think what I said at the time, at least I know what I was thinking at the time, is that is definitely to the advantage of the entire town to solve the problem that this report is designed to address.
Right.
And in that regard, it might be possible to have some cost sharing. I didn't have anything in mind about a specific grant covering it or anything
Okay.
like that. I would never have said that.
Well, right there, you're saying it could be used for the future of the town.
Yeah,
So-
I don't think you're talking about the cost being covered by a grant,
Okay.
rather that the information derived from the report could then be used for grants down the road, kind of thing. So, yes, the $35,000 for the report benefits the people on the sewer district. It also benefits the people of the town overall, because with a properly functioning sewer district, we should be able to pull in a lot of commercial property. So that's better for the town. So it's, personally, we talked about it, we thought a 50-50 split on it. The sewer district as a special district paying half of it, and the town overall paying the other half of it.
I mean, is that something you would do now, or couldn't you do that afterwards if, they get to discuss it more?
Well, I think the budget is adopted on the 20th, so
We have to vote tonight on it,
Yeah.
Kathy.
No, like I said, I said this last year when you did it in February, so I just feel like, because I see it here on the line, 35,900. And then I guess down below in the Kent Manor Utilities, which is still the sewer district, there's $53,000 $30,000 spent. Is that the 22 plus the 35 in there? Is that-
No, that's the 22, and then the regular monthly costs that are in there.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
You can come up. Yes.
How's everybody doing tonight? I don't know where to begin.
If you would just, your name.
My name's Keith Orvieto. I've lived here for 10 years. When I first moved here, my taxes were around $9,000, then they went up to $12,000, and I don't even know what they're gonna go up to now. I grew up in Westchester, in the village of Irvington. I started working for their DPW at the age of 16. I know about taxes and how villages work. I don't get water from you guys. You don't take care of my sewage. You don't pick up my garbage. You barely plow my road, and you never fill any potholes. Where's my $12,000 going? Okay, I understand, you know, the budget and what she explained, and that's life. We all have to deal with that, and when times are tough, we have to make cutbacks. The other thing, $60,000 to get rid of organic material. I need to talk to you. I was friends, when I worked for the village of Irvington, we had that problem. We used to pick up leaves, Tree City, USA. Every time there was a storm, trees were down, we had to take care of it. We had a whole dump. We used to, back in the day when they had money and budgeted, we'd bring in a tub grinder, grind it up for compost, and the village would deliver it to people and gardeners. It became a problem, pricey. You need machines, you need people, you need diesel, you need to do this. Well, my friend Steve got a contract, got in touch with somebody at Scott's Fertilizer, and they were sending down trucks to take care of it for free because they were using it for organic compost to sell. There's ways to get rid of organic waste without spending $60,000. You know, bring it to my house, we'll have a bonfire and a party one night, you know? But there's ways to go around this and fix it. The other thing I kind of want to kind of frost my cone is I don't know. I just learned about this like an hour ago. I had no idea that this was going on. My neighbors reached out to me and told me, and I said, well, how come that anybody didn't know? Oh, well, it was on the website. It was in this paper that I've never seen before. The amount of crap I get in my mailbox every day, you guys couldn't put out a piece of paper saying, hey, we're having this meeting and we're going to raise your taxes again. You know, I remember voting during the presidential election, one of the proposals was to raise the school taxes, and that went up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did you mention in the beginning that most of it was going to the school? For what? What does the school need that for?
The GFMS sign.
I'm sorry?
The GFMS sign.
The GMS?
That was passed
So we don't do the budget for the school.
4 years.
in the town, so I just, in the town.
So the school does the budget, give it to you guys, and you're like, okay, you can, and then you put out the money? Is that how it works, or?
The school does not
no.
ask.
Okay, so, I don't know, that's all I just wanted to get off my chest, kind of. But seriously, about the compost, I know the DEC can be a pain in the butt. I've dealt with them before, you know, my other friends have businesses and stuff like that, but there's a ways around it. If you want me to make a phone call to people downstate to see what they're doing with it, I'll be glad to help you
I
out.
offered a competitive bid,
Have
your friends
Richie.
put a bid on it. It was advertised publicly. You could, I'll take the lowest price for anyone. It wasn't, I didn't shut anybody out.
Yeah, but it wasn't a bid, they weren't asking for money, they showed up to take it for free because they're making money on it.
It seems like that's all the town is hiring.
For capital projects, we have to bring it to a licensed process plan. I had thousands of yards of trees and brush, and, I mean, the whole town is nothing but streams and woods. and
No, I know.
Rocks. The pile was immense. We're only allowed to legally store 10,000 cubic yards of material there. I think we were up to 30,000. Plus, I got stuck with taking wood chips out that were dumped there since 1986, which never should have been dumped there because the landfill was closed. But they were continuously dumped, and I took office and I got nailed with that. That was tub grinded. The trees, we did tub grind right there. And most recently, the town board approved about 6 months ago, it's called the spoils resolution, where I can now bring trees, people that want to burn wood, I'm getting rid of material, millings and everything else at citizens' houses for free, so I don't have to pay to get rid of them. But we do not have, it's a landfill, it's not a processing plant. The DEC doesn't want us there. So I'm handcuffed. They come in and they inspect all the time, and I have to keep the place clean. There's wells there that are monitored.
Is this the one up by White Pond?
Yes.
Okay.
We are, well, it's probably not going to happen in another after I'm long gone, but we picked up 9 more acres next to the present highway department, and we want to turn that into a material processing plant for trees and wood chips, and you can't, in the old days, they would bury blacktop, they'd replace a culvert pipe, and just bury it in the ground. Can't do that anymore.
Oh, I know.
You have to bring that down to Lawton Adams. It's got to be a licensed processing plant.
Well, that's
I
what-
just can't hire anybody, so.
No, I understand that. They weren't paying anybody. They came down from Syracuse with their trucks to pick up the material and strip it out free of charge. They didn't have to pay them, and they said, no problem. It's
They would
even.
take a load of wood chips from
Yes, because they're
Syracuse?
processing it for organic soil, putting it in bags and selling it to Home Depot. So every spring, people are getting the organic
Tell
compost.
them
I'll make a phone call and see what I can hook you
The bids are
up.
actually going to be, they're going to approve the bids to go out. Tell them, whoever bids, I have to, by law, I have to, they're sealed bids. I have to accept one of those people.
Yeah, but you're not accepting money from somebody to take it out. It's not a bid. They're coming and taking it for free.
That's fine.
But
Then
you can
they
get
have-
around that?
But they have to bid it. They have to explain that.
Okay,
in
I
the
see what
proposal.
you're saying through the whole
have
political
to go
process.
through the
They have to
process.
somehow do it. But other stupid question, this is in my brain because I'm an avid outdoorsman and stuff like that. With the amount of New York City watershed property we have here, there's no way that you can hit them up with more taxes?
No.
And how's
We
that?
just spent $35,000 putting the forest fires out in the Sedgwick Club.
Mm-hmm.
I fought tooth and nail trying to get reimbursed for that. They pay taxes on the land already. They will not pay us. The New York State DOT guys showed up at the fire. They were sent home because they're not allowed to work by fire. I had the
Yeah, I
Kent
remember
Highway
that.
guys in the woods without fire gear with our machines
No, I saw
digging
that.
trenches. The DEC and the DEP have a stranglehold on us.
So we can't turn around and pull the eminent domain crap on New York City and say, hey, we're taking this land back?
Look, New York City took over Putnam County in
Yeah.
the 1800s with Boss Tweed.
Oh, I know.
We're not gonna, if you can do it.
Oh, I'll
go ahead.
try. I'll do anything. You know, I'm hard-headed. Ask my neighbors. But anyway, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, someone's-
And I'm in a meeting. I want to get your number, so I'm going to make some phone calls and see if I can.
Yeah, no problem. You can reach me anytime. All right, let me pipe in here real quickly. I'm speaking as half your highway superintendent and half a resident of Kent this year, tonight. My taxes went up $2,300 this year. I'm going to be put out to pasture soon. I did not want to see that. But I did speak to Bill Carlin, the finance commissioner in Putnam County, and I have to keep things in simple terms like you talk to a fifth grader. When I look at all these charts and stuff, I have ADD, I lose my mind. For every dollar you spend in taxes, for every single dollar you spend, 70 cents goes to the Carmel School District, 23 cents goes to the town of Kent, and 7 cents goes to Putnam County in New York State. So when you see your tax bill raised X amount, only 23% is, 23 cents of every dollar is for the town of Kent. If you're gonna yell at anybody, yell at me, don't yell at the town board, because I've been driving these people crazy for a long time. The highway department was in dire straits a while ago. We had antique equipment, the roads were crazy, the bridges are falling down. We've come a long way, and we've built it up pretty good, but it cost a lot of money. And I'll tell you, for instance, in the last 12 years I've been here now, the salt dome collapsed in my yard. I was 2 months in the office. I looked at the records. That was the third time it collapsed in a few years, and we were given orders by the DEC to build a hard structure. It was ignored every time, and the town took the insurance money and rebuilt the same thing. That's number one. Number two, we were given $30,000 by the planning board. We were supposed to put in a filtration system in our yard because trucks drip oil, they drip grease, it rains and the blacktop comes out of the dump body, and we're right next to a stream. So we had to put in a filtration plant. We finally did it about 3 or 4 years ago, where all the wastewater in the parking lot of the highway garage goes into these catch basins, and they get led right to these 2 different filter systems, and they get out, and the pure water is released into the stream. That cost about $100,000. We had to contain our salt. We built a salt dome. The garage was falling down. We renovated the garage. A lot of money was spent from the highway department, so you can yell at me and not them, because I kept coming to them with these DEC and these DEP mandates. Just some things I just want to take note of. All right, there was 8 years, and I know Christina mentioned it, 8 years of zeros was ridiculous. I would go up to the highway superintendent's conferences in Cornell, and I talked to the state controllers about that. They said that is basic municipal finance 101. You have to raise your, and I begged the then supervisor for 8 years in a row, just raise them 1%, just raise them 1.5%, because then in 8 years, we would have a little bit increase every year, and we would have been fine. Refused to do it. Zeros do not work. They do not work. We did not keep pace with the inflation rate. And the state controller's office said it's not the way to operate. It was the wrong way to go, and now we're paying for it. And additionally, what Christina said also, we were backfilling it with the fund balance. You all have home budgets. You don't go to Jamaica on your strategic reserve, your bank account money that you use if your car blows up or something. You have a strategic reserve. We spent our money, our strategic reserve, on everyday bills that we should have been doing our 1 or 2% raise. It's not their fault. They were stuck with this and they're dealing with it, and I actually feel bad for them, but that's what, I don't care if Jesus, Mohammed, and Moses were on the town board. They would have to make the same decision these people are doing right now. I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up when I read this.
Mary.
Zeros do not work. All right. I said to you about my taxes, my homeowner's insurance. I've lived in a homeowner since I got out of the military for 48 years or whatever. My homeowner's insurance, I've never made a claim. Just went up $300. I called them, I said, my car insurance goes up. I'd never make claims. And it's just, and you can imagine what that does to a town that has 150 vehicles. It just goes right across the board. So and everybody on this board is a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. I don't want high taxes. I don't want to waste your money. These are really necessary things we have to do. The DEP and the DEC have a stranglehold on us. 70%, where's that fella? 70% of Kent is New York City watershed. It's undevelopable. We have to, I know Sean Boyd is working on with the planning board and the zoning board. We have to get creative. We have to figure out ways to build a tax base within our wetlands. People that want to build, developers, I feel bad for them because they're self-employed. If they don't get out of bed, they don't get a paycheck. They don't get a check every 2 weeks. They're self-employed business people, and they're trying to make a living. And the regulations and restrictions are killing these people. They don't want to do business here. I know when you go up to certain towns in Dutchess County, you pay a one-time fee to your planning board, $2,500 or whatever, $3,000, and that covers your project from start to finish. Getting bills from engineers and lawyers, $175 an hour for consultation. I mean, that's double that. That's terrible. That's why you see so many projects started and abandoned. We have to figure out a way to work through the planning. And I know Sean and Jamie and Ann and Jerome, you guys are working on that. But we have to reset that. We have to reset our planning board and our zoning board. We need a tax base. I have the second most road mileage in Putnam County, second to only Carmel. We have 216 lane miles of road. Carmel has 230 something. They have triple our budget. They have double my workforce. They have shops and businesses, and they have a tax base. And I know I don't do this as a joke, but I always say we have gun shops, lingerie shops, liquor stores, and delis. And that's our tax base. We need to get proactive, and because otherwise our hands are tied. What else? Let me just, well, I'm on a roll here. We open the truck wash. What's that? We can open the truck wash. All right, I mentioned that, the Band-Aids, after COVID, highway prices, what I used to be able to pay of a 2-lane mile of road, $100,000, that's now $150,000. That's 33% more. And I said we have 216 lane miles of road. We're doing an average around 7 miles a year right now, 7 or 8 miles a year, so do the math. I know we bonded a couple of years ago. I did the all around Lake Carmel. That was $825,000 just for the Lake Carmel section. It's crazy. And the truck the 5500 Dodge dump with a sander and a plow cost me $78,000 in 2020. That truck is $178,000 right now. And the parts, just any part, there's still a bit of a supply chain effect, you know, from COVID still. It's hard to get parts sometimes, but the equipment is insane. What it costs. Oh, God. Supervisor McGlasson and I spent all summer fighting with the Putnam County Legislature, and we actually came out pretty damn good. We went with a partisan, Republicans and Democrats, mayors, supervisors, and so on. We went to war with the legislature, and we got them to do tax sharing with the towns finally. So we're expecting 300,000 minimum.
300.
300 to 350,000 every year that we're going to get into our budget, which is going to help us out of this deficit. So that's a positive thing. Other positive things we've gotten, I know with this board, I've worked with them, I've gotten $8 million just about in grants for our bridge replacements were built in the 1930s. I worked with Ann Campbell. We have what is it, Ann, 260,000 for a salt barn on the Smoky Hollow Garage. So we are working hard to get funding from other places. You cannot run an everyday town on grants. That's pure fiction. You read that with your kids when Disney comes on, because that's just not a doable thing. And zeros don't work.
Can I say one thing? With the grants, though, not every grant is 100%. A lot of the grants, the town has to match a certain percentage. So it's not 100%.
See, the highway department, I have the luxury, though, because we have the equipment. So when I do get a grant, we do all the excavation, and I'm a mason. I'm doing mason work at the highway yard now on my own, which actually is a big stress release for me because I hate all this other stuff. So there are a lot of positive things going on with the town. And this board, they're doing a really good job. They sweat going over everything. It's really hard. Kathy, you went through it. It's really, really tough. And I did a little analysis of the budgets over the years. And it seems the budgets are just a big parabola. 2008, taxes went up 2.7%. 2009, they went up 9.1%. 2010, they went up 5.3%. 2011, 4.4%. 2012, 0.29. 2013, they went down 0.75%. 2014, they went down 1.92%. And then 8 years of zeros. That, in the future, that's an indicator of disaster about to come. That's all the storm clouds are getting in line, and they're going to hit you. There's no way around it, and that's what this board got stuck with. So, any questions for me on anything?
So you have to, you have to come up here, else they can't hear you at home. Or you can come over here. Sir, you can come right over here and use that one, and then you two can talk back and forth.
Okay, that's great.
The dueling banjos.
It's not a solver problem or whatever, but have you considered selling any of this wood to, like, logging? Like, right now, the ash beetles destroyed all the ash trees, so all the loggers, my buds upstate, are cutting ash left and right. They're getting a pretty good money, almost twice than you would with hardwood, because they're all buying it up. I cleared all the ash off of my property for firewood, and I couldn't believe how clear it was and how much that wood was worth, but I had no way of getting it out. If you have all this wood, even with the town property, is there any way to log it or get the dead ash out? You know,
The dead ash
some
is
money?
coming out. That's one of my biggest nightmares, the Japanese borer beetle.
Yeah.
They come down, and I got to go out and cut them up, but that's not my primary duty. My duty are the roads.
I understand, but you're
I mean, you
paying.
even said I haven't taken
Yeah.
care of your road. You got potholes all
It's
over it.
just a
So I want the name
suggestion.
of your road. I'm going to go there tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no problem. No, it's just a suggestion. I mean, I know you have to send crews out there, clean it up, and now you got waste to take care of. Cut in a 12-foot log and bring it to the mill. Now you're getting money for it. You know, you're getting $4,000, $6,000 a truckload. You know,
Most of the ash that comes down on our roads are already devastated by the beetle. When the bark comes off, you can see where the beetles have traveled.
No, I understand that.
They're not.
But as
I
long
know
as-
they make baseball bats out of ash.
But as long as all the ones that are going to the mill, the bark's messed up, but the center core is good. As long as it's got a white core, they're buying them up for $120 a board foot, $1.20 a board foot, I believe.
You know what? Give me another dozen men, and I'll do it. But my road duties, I'm sure there's plenty of people in here that are complaining about
I got a
flooding.
CDL, give me one of your trucks, I'll do it. I
All
don't
right.
need money.
You got a lot.
But it's just a suggestion, you know, swings around.
No, there's a lot of possibilities to do it, but our primary duty right now is the roads, keep them clear, keep them in the winter. You know, I'm dealing with the salt, because the salt gets in the wells. Everybody, I mean, when I was a kid, everybody had studded snow tires. Now, and everyone worked local. Now everybody commutes to the city, and I start getting screamed at 3 o'clock in the morning on the phone, why isn't my road plowed?
And just curious, somebody mentioned about the grants. I'm getting letters every year from the DEP for grant money, and we can redo your septic to make sure our watershed. You can't pull that to help get a new salt shed. I mean, I went to Cornell for natural resources. Salt is really bad for the environment. And, if they're giving out grants for septics, can't we get a grant?
We did get one in, and I got a
We just-
grant for
we
a
just got
salt
one.
shed.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
All right, any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
Susan Kotzer, Town of Kent. I know Kathy went through some lines. So on page 35, at the bottom, you have e-waste contractual. And you budgeted $500 for e-waste? What e-waste?
So when people put their e-waste in there, sometimes they
In
put-
in the shed in the back?
Yes, they put items that should not be put into the shed, and we get charged, so we put a little money in there just to cover in case.
I know there's a list that the company has out, and it's listed there. So if it's listed, it seems like it's permitted. If the town makes up their own list of what the town wants, that they won't be charged for, that $500 could be a zero if you update the list.
It's not about updating the list, it's about that people, even if it says do not put this in here, people still put it in there.
Compliance. That's the
Then
problem.
someone needs to monitor it. It's only 3 hours, 9, 10, 11, 4 hours maybe on a Wednesday?
I mean, people put batteries in there and say
Well,
it's.
yep,
Yeah, then we have
it's
to pay somebody to stand there
$500.
and watch them. We already
mean,
have.
Okay.
It was $142.25 so far for this year, and I think maybe we have a.
So you
jump.
budgeted 500, that's a big jump. Maybe tell people to be more compliant and wait for a hazardous waste day for their fluorescent bulbs and other items. The community beautification, it was $840.28, now it's $2,000. Cut it down a little bit. I don't know what you're spending it on.
Is that, I'm sorry.
Same
Christina,
page.
Is that the beautification committee? What is that one?
It says community beautification contractual.
So I kept it the same budget as 2025. That's the same number as 2025.
But you only spent 840.
Right, but again, those actuals, depending when that report is printed, it might not be up to date. It's not 100%. It might be that number, but it might not, because I printed that years ago.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
So that's for the beautification committee, and Jorm was saying that's always been what they've been given every year.
Since I've been on the board in 2022, it's always been $2,000. That's what's been budgeted for
Okay.
beautification.
All right.
And the reason that it's so low is when I came on, I believe we had 5 volunteers. Now we are down to 1. So, actually, I believe we have 2 now. Somebody just went on, so they don't go, and unfortunately, volunteerism is down, so they're not spending a lot of money because that expense basically is plants and any shrubbery that they're putting anywhere that the town, basically like 311 meets 52, that area. And then there's other parts up by where the wheel is up on Farmers Mills on both ends. So that's where that money is. So they don't use all the money every single year.
Okay, all right. Page 36, kind of in the middle, grant administration and contractual, was it audit contractual? It was 35,000 and now it's 42,000.
That's because the grant company raised their, wasn't that it, Ann? Didn't they raise their rate?
Right, initially, when they started with the town, they gave the town a discount.
No,
And once we'd been working with them for a while, they asked us to increase to their standard rate. That was sometime last year.
all right.
And honestly, they are worth that money. For how much money we get in grants, it
Yes.
is worth that.
Same page, cemeteries, contractual. It was 7,500, and now it's 10,000.
Yeah, that's correct, at my request.
At your-
So the previous person who will be finishing out their contract this year was doing a very poor job, to say the least. So bad that when we had a meeting here, I think Jamie just about had to grab me by the collar. I was upset, and that doesn't happen very often. So we need a better job. For the 8 historic cemeteries, and really we have more, we could add 2 more, Parker and Williams if we wanted to. But historic cemeteries, you know, and we have a lot of history here. There's 8 of them, only 7 of them were being worked on. And I think we deserve, those cemeteries deserve the respect to be done properly.
Absolutely.
And what was being budgeted wasn't enough. This person was, it just wasn't enough. for
So
the
will
job
it
they
go
were
out to bid again?
We're going to go out to bid, but we
Okay.
put in, because I suspect it's going to cost more because we want the job done right. Because we're going to put on it this year, for the, but that wasn't on there, that they're not going to be able to use a deck mower within 10 feet of a known resting place, that they're going to have to use weed whackers. Without getting into it, they weren't doing a good job. They were very disrespectful for what was there. Right? And I don't want to slander somebody or somebody saying that or rip on
The
somebody,
proper
but.
care wasn't being taken care of, the tombstones
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we
You
want
can
to
see it.
ensure that
Still get a little
moving
worked up
forward,
about
that they're not damaged any more than they already have been.
Thank you. So that's why that's there.
Okay. Well, I could go on, but not a whole lot. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Christine.
Hi, Tim Pop from Kent. 2 questions. One, Christine, if you talk about the reassessment that everybody's been talking about, so did 23% of that go to our town of the new reassessment? Or did we balance out? Did we raise some and lower others?
That would be, this is our assessor right here, sitting in the front row.
I'm not really sure I understand the question as far as 23% going to.
Well, 70% of it goes to the,
That's of the tax dollar. The assessments are just for for apportioning to individual properties.
so the taxes that went up for a lot of people?
Right.
I heard some people say $3,000, but there are people that went up, there are some people who went up $10,000, $12,000, $13,000. So,
There are some people who went up, there are some people who went down. There's
so
some
my
people
question
who
is,
was about a third, a third, a third.
do we have more money coming into the town now or not?
Assessments do not change.
The taxes that we paid this
The
year?
assessments do not change what the budget is. They're 2 independent things. So if I went out today and doubled everybody's assessment,
Yeah.
the amount of
Okay,
taxes
so let's
they
just
pay
say
would
that.
not change.
So the taxes that people are talking about, that some said went up 3,000, some went up 11,000. Those were additional.
Most of those situations
Yeah.
came about because those people were paying less than their fair share. Just like the people who went down
Okay.
in taxes were overpaying for years.
Okay.
Their assessments were.
Okay. All right, so the second question is there, now that we kind of know what's been going on the last 10 or 12 years, is there really like maybe a 3 to 5 year plan of what the board is thinking about how to, I guess, correct, the issues of the past?
Well, I think that's what we're trying to do right now, and I will tell you that in the past, but prior to, I'm sorry, Christina, you started in February? Yeah. We had a part-time accountant, and now Christina is full-time, so that is going to definitely help us, figure out what we need to do. It's more open, and we have better ideas. So yes, we do have a 5, I don't know how many years, we have a plan to try to bring back up the general fund and to try to equal out so we don't have to raise taxes significantly every
But I
year.
think you kind of have to, and I worked in corporate America for 40 years, so I kind of know what you have to do in the 3 to 5 year plan. And Rich's point about capital, you need to know every 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years when you have to replace a truck or when you have to build a new pump. So that's money that you have to every year kind of set aside in capital expenditures. And so you just have to get to that point. Or else my concern would be the state is going to be looking in on us much more than what they are today. So that would be my advice, that you got to get the 3 to 5 year plan sooner. Thanks.
And I would say there is a plan. The plan is, like Christina said, we have to slowly raise up the taxes because there was 7 out of the 8 years was 0, right? And that's easy, to say as a politician, that's a great sale, right? That's not leadership though, right? Leadership is sitting here today, listening to everybody who wants to yell and scream at you about taxes. And and also about the reval of the housing that what Seth might talk about. That's also a tough one, right? Which is why it was kicked down the road from the previous administration. Because for one, it's expensive. We were lucky enough that ARPA paid a majority of the funds for it, if not all of it. And people aren't happy because they think that their taxes go up. But the reality is that that budget doesn't change one bit with the reval, because when your property value may go up, accordingly to whatever it is, our budget's still X. We don't get more money. There's no, there's nobody revaled higher somewhere and now we're taxing them more. No, the rate then changes. So the rate comes down if your house is valued more. So part of it is the sewer district too. So the fellow who sat here before me for 8 years could care less about the sewer district and paid no attention to it. And it didn't improve itself. So working with Kathy Doherty, she's the chair on the sewer committee, on the liaison. Basically, I'll be coming up on my 2-year mark in December. And the amount of meetings that we've had and trying to figure out to get this right, because with that sewer district, basically runs from Anthony's Jewelers to Hollywood Hotel. That's huge for commercial applications, and we've had 0 use. I've been in this town since I was a kid, and I could stand at Deliland to look down 52 south, and it hasn't changed one bit except for the VFW that was there burnt down. So in 50 years, yes, I'm over 50. That it's changed almost nothing, no improvement, nothing, and why? So yes, we're working on it, and so commercial property building is going to bring in some tax revenue, a slow increase, and we will. It's slow, but it's going to have to over time. Is another reason to bring in tax revenue.
I totally agree, and I think you have to have a full-time accountant.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
This is not a small little municipality, and I think you've got to have 3 years out of what are prices going to be doing. If they can continue to increase in the roads, if that rate is going to go up 50%, what companies do is they budget that out and say, here's what our budget's going to be the next 3 years, and we're going to need this amount of money. So I think we've got to get to that point where full-time accountant is necessary. I think the other thing you should at least think about is you've got a lot of great people in this community who would volunteer to be on a committee for free to say, let me be with Christine, 5 or 6 of us, and come up with ideas. Especially folks maybe that have been in corporate America and run pretty large budgets over the years and said, let's just try to figure this out. So just a recommendation.
And now we need a new microphone in the budget.
Rich, you want to say something?
I actually have a question for Seth. I remember back in the 80s, there was a tax grievance night, and Dennis Illuminati sat on the board, and that's when they first built the first McMansions up here off of Ludingtonville, and this man was screaming at the grievance board, and he was going, who said my house is worth $800,000? And Dennis goes, you did. You just paid 6 months ago $800,000 for the house. So my question to you is, they're predicting a major flight out of New York City. My daughter and my son-in-law just bought a house in Patterson, $725,000 in their early 30s or mid-30s, whatever they are. So my question is, when someone buys a house, I mean, there's bidding wars going on, all over. Does that automatically become their assessment?
No.
Okay.
That's illegal. It's called welcome stranger, and that's not the way we assess. It's the most important job
Seth,
that I have.
Just in the mic.
Sorry. The most important job that I have as the assessor is to maintain equity within the assessment role. So similar houses of similar value should have similar assessments. And I'd like to think that, given the reappraisal and the fact that now we are readdressing it every year, we're kind of keeping up with changes in the market. But that was the problem. There was nothing done for basically since '96. In the interim, they trended numbers, but applying a percentage to a bad assessment doesn't fix the assessment.
So if someone overpays for a house, just to get a bidding war, just to get a house, they're not gonna get automatically raised and taxed out, they're gonna stay with, if it was assessed at 600,000 and they pay 750, that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna get automatically assessed at 750 and pay a higher rate.
No, we'll revisit the assessment, look at the inventory, and make a decision going from there, see how it fits with the other properties that are similar.
Thank you.
So Seth, while you're up there,
Okay.
with the reval, the lack of keeping up to the state standard, so what we were at in the 60s percentile as far as the valuation of the
67%.
67, and what does the state like us to be at?
Well, they'd like us to be at 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of makes
And-
things a little simpler.
And so were we punished in some years for school tax wise because we weren't assessed in a number that the state would like us to be at?
It's difficult to explain, but because there's a lot of moving parts, but when you're not a reval town, when you kind of diverge from being at 100%, the state has multiple tests of value, and we are at their mercy, their formulas. Other towns, when they're reassessing, there's a 5% tolerance. Get to 95.1%, the state will say, oh yeah, we'll certify you at 100%. And they only have to pass one test of value. It can be either on sales, it could be on computer-assisted modeling. We had a couple of years where they decided a new value for 1 year, our special franchises and utilities, and it increased the value 21%. What I keep talking about when I explain changes in the equalization rate or changes in assessments, if you go up at the same rate as everybody else in a reappraisal or reval, your taxes are not going to change, other than budget increases. There's not going to be any shift towards you or away from you. And, the same thing happens with school taxes. We had a year where the surrounding towns raised their values anywhere from 8 to 12%, but the state raised us 21%. And that resulted in a big shift. We brought on, that 1 year, we took on about almost 2% of the Carmel school budget. So where 1 year we were paying 45%, the next year we're paying 47% of their levy. Their levy is $101 million. So when you move it 2%, that's bigger than this budget increase that we're talking about this year. What we're talking about is just, it looks terrible because we're coming from low comps. We had years where we didn't raise it. If those raises had been there, where we kept up with the budget, we kept up with the general fund and stopped writing IOUs to these special districts, we wouldn't be looking at the increase that we're looking at this year. But this is just an effort to balance out the expenditures with what we're bringing in. This is, not even addressing the short or the IOUs to the general fund. We're just, sooner or later, every bill has to get paid, and we weren't paying the bills, so it has to happen. And I just don't know what else to say on this front.
Wait, Seth, can you give an example of, use a media house, I don't know, like $450,000, what will the town taxes go up now with the new rates and everything?
Okay, and I have to kind of cop out on that and say that we picked up a lot of equity within the reappraisal. Numbers, the numbers went up on average 68%. If your assessment went up 68%, you're really not seeing an increase in taxes other than the changes in the school budget and now town and county budgets. But, you know, to say that, the problem is that I don't know that the median right now in the town is 421,000. Gets you just a median house. I don't know what the assessment was on that last year because we didn't do a trending reappraisal or trending reassessment. We reappraised. So that house that's 421 could have gone up 100%. It might have only gone up 45%. But the difference, if it went up 68%, there's going to be really minimal increase in their taxes. It's, again, it's really, you know, without having a specific example, I'm sorry, I can't really give you a great answer to that question.
But let me ask a slightly different question, though. Independent of what happened with the reassessment, let's say that right now my house is at that median value, and now, as you said, if you are at, if we were assessed at that rate before, the taxes wouldn't go up except for the increase that now we're looking at from the school district and the town. So the question I have is, with this increase from the town, if I have this average house, how much additional would I be seeing in taxes?
I'm sorry, I've been crunching so many numbers, I'm trying to pull that number out of my memory, and I don't,
Oh, okay.
I apologize, I just don't have it right now.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yes?
I'd like to say that I bought my house.
If you would.
Can you just come over, if you want to come over to this microphone over here, and then that way you can talk.
Hi, my name is Julie Bruzzi. I bought my house brand new construction, $350,000 in 2020. When I bought, I asked, how much are the taxes going to be? Because I can only afford $2,500 a month. That's my budget. At the time, wasn't you as the assessor, it was somebody else. The guy that built my house apparently was family with that guy. He came over and he said, your house probably be $10,000 a year, but it won't go up because you're new construction. You're at the top of it gave me some baloney. You're at the top of the tax bracket, so it shouldn't go up. My taxes have gone up $6,000 in 4 years. I can't afford to live here anymore. I have been in a deficit of my escrow every single year. I don't have parents, either does my husband, all deceased. I have nobody to help me. Where am I supposed to pull that money out of? My children are both in this school district, which ironically, it is not lost on me that this is a school meeting right now at the same exact time. I can only be at one of those. So, I'm here. My son is high honors, NYSSMA, my kid just did the Pops concert, she did the play. We're very involved in this community. I live in the lake, I go to the lake, you know, all the time. I go to the thing, I'm like really involved. I can't afford to live here anymore, and I'm telling my kids, if our taxes go up $1 more, we're moving. They can't even finish out 4 years in this district. And I don't speak just for myself. Every single one of my friends has at least 2, 3 houses on their street up for sale. Now, if you guys all think that there's gonna be another exodus up from the city because of the change of mayors and you're banking on that, what happens when there's a glut? When everybody's putting their houses up for sale because nobody can afford to live here and all the values come down, then what? You're gonna have a housing glut and nobody can afford to live here. What am I supposed to tell my kids? How much higher is it supposed to go? $6,000 in 4 years? And I'm not the only one. What am I supposed to tell my children? Sorry, we lived here for 5 years. It's been a great run. I'm glad you made new friends and settled yourself and are doing so great, but we have to move. And I'm sorry because honestly, I see that it's not the town, it is the school district. I have seen you at the school budget meetings. And I know that the people in the town are not being paid the way the teachers are being paid. But you can't keep making the townspeople pay for this. We have nothing more. Who am I supposed to ask? Where am I supposed to get this money? Can we ask the governor? Can we get higher up help? I mean, just a question. I'm just speaking for myself and all of my friends that I speak to in this
Commissioners want to respond?
Yeah, no, school budget, yeah, we have nothing to do with that, zero.
I know that.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest
Yeah.
issue.
Ray?
Still, how can I justify this rate? How? Please tell me how I can justify it. I
I-
can't afford to stay here.
I think everybody agrees with you. School taxes are ridiculous.
You know, it's,
Sorry to like yell, but like it's really upsetting.
It's-
The only reason why I'm here is because the weekend was really busy.
and it's not a fix, but that was one of the reasons that we did, initiate the reappraisal, is to kind of take control of at least the shifts. It's, I would say, a slow march. I don't know that it's been all that slow. But we are trying, by doing the reappraisal and by trying to stay at 100%, we're trying to take control at least of the shifts that I was talking about, where we change at a rate that's different than the other towns that we take on share. I can tell you this, I can tell you 7 or 8 years ago, we were paying about 42% of their budget or of their levy. And now we're all about 48%. So, it doesn't seem like that's huge, but that's $6 million that we picked up.
The biggest question is, if I vote for this, how much more is my taxes going to go up? How much more? The people who need to know this answer. How much more?
I'll tell you what, give me a couple of minutes and I'll give you an answer to that. And I apologize for not having it right now.
I think that you're being a little bit disingenuous when you say that.
Go closer to the mic.
Okay, can I hear you? I'm going to make the numbers up just for simplicity's sake. My house was worth, according to assessments, $100 last year.
Okay.
This year, suddenly, it's worth $200. So I am being taxed at the same rate for something that's all of a sudden much more valuable than it was last year. So my taxes have gone up a lot. And so when you say, well, the town won't gain any money from the reassessment, I think that's baloney, because even if other people's tax assessments, or whatever you call them, went down, are you saying that that brought everybody to the same level? I just don't understand.
Okay.
The assessment, the total assessment is the total assessment. What changes in the reassessment is who pays how much, right? So if the total assessment, to use easy numbers like you, because I only have a 10th grade math education, is $1,000, then you're going to pay towards that what the value of your house is compared to everyone else's. So the town's not getting more money. It's just redistributing who pays what. Is that right, Seth?
Yeah.
That's correct, yeah.
All right.
The tax rate, you said as far as the tax rate staying the same, and your assessment doubled. Tax rate it's a simple calculation in that it's what, you start with a budget, and let's say it's $15 million that the town comes up with, and they say, this is what we need for next year. They're going to look at their sources of revenue that they have coming in. And let's say that that's $5 million. So that means you're $10 million short. That becomes your levy. We fix that number. And it's $10 million regardless of whether there's $10 million in assessed value or $100 million in assessed value. It's just you're dividing the levy by the total assessment. And then we bring it back to the individual property based on the individual assessment. But that's how the tax rate is
So the
calculated.
town doesn't get any added revenue from the
They
reassessment?
do not.
Zero.
When the reappraisal happens,
Okay.
we have no idea what the budget's going to be at that time.
Can I also ask a question, please? When you talk about the sewer district and the water district and the sanitation district, are those all just for potentially commercial uses? Or do any of homeowners in the town of Kent get their garbage picked up.
So in Lake Carmel, there's a sanitation area, so, and they pay for that in their taxes. So it's not included in yours.
And is that the same for water and sewer, or no?
So, no, there's 2 water districts in the town that are not in Lake Carmel.
Residential.
Yes, residential, and they pay for that service on their taxes.
I
So
see.
you don't see that on yours.
Thank you.
You know how like it has like library listed on your taxes? Like it'll say
Yeah.
county tax, town tax, library. They'll have water district, they'll have sanitation, all that. So
Thank
you're
you.
not paying for those.
Thank you for your time.
And I would say that the people who see the largest increases in their taxes, and because some people have come to me and asked me why, and I look at what they've been evaluated the last, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, and this one particular person in Lake Carmel, and they were being assessed at $125,000 till recently, and then legally, it only got doubled to $250 because it's only allowed to jump 100% in 1 year. And so their taxes went up considerably. And I said, you'll have a nice house in Lake Carmel. This house is worth at least $350,000, right, overall. So you've been paying at a tax rate of $125,000 for many years now. So the reality is you've been paying a lot less in taxes over time, where other people have been paying more because their vow was current. So I was like, be quiet, don't say anything, because technically they could raise you again next year to bring you up to $300,000. So when you look at that, look at where your previous assessments were over time and see that you're more than likely were undervalued for a considerable amount of time. You were very lucky, you were paying low taxes. So now you're getting what would really be the real bill at this point.
Seth, do you want to go get that number so that people can?
Sure.
Please
Yes,
do.
Ray.
I guess I'll fill in some of the gaps.
Okay, thank you.
Ray from Town of Kent. A couple of things about the fund balance, or shall we call it the deficit balance at this point, because it's assets minus liabilities. Quick question, Christina. So you see 22, 23, 24 precipitously drop. Is that all because of the special districts needing money from the general fund? Because we've gone from 4.6, 4 million, 2.8, and if you're at the bottom, you end up at 1.4.
So I wasn't here those years, so I don't know exactly what happened and partook in those numbers. However, there was a lot in between 2023 to 2020 now. There has been a lot of unexpected expenses. In those, there could have been stuff that was part of those districts, yes, that the funds were used for that. So you really have to just look at each individual
Right.
on what their balances have decreased.
Right, but I mean, like, the argument is that 7, 8 years of no funding or no increase in taxes is what you're leading up to say, that's why 24 is at 1.4 million. But then if you go back to 2015, you're at 8.2 million.
Right.
But if I'm going back to 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and that's when you didn't raise any taxes and your fund balances are actually better.
Correct.
Why?
So if you take the difference of between all the years through each one, and you go and you go on the website and look at all the budgets throughout the years.
Yeah.
If you see that there's a section which I'll show you on
Because
here.
24 financial report's not on, so it's hard to kind of see.
We haven't done the audit for that yet.
Got it.
Yeah. So if you look at this column here where it says less unexpected balances line of use. If you look at all those years in the past, you will see numbers in every single one. Those were fund balances being used, which in the end will be about more or less the difference in the number, basically the numbers that you see throughout the years.
Right. I didn't want to leave it up to interpretation, but I mean, if I'm just looking at it graphically speaking, it just seems like more and more money got used over, but you weren't increasing taxes to use that money.
So the reason you're seeing more in these previous years is because we didn't have, instead of using basically what we were supposed to, we had a lot of unexpected costs from what I gather. Again, I'm new.
So you're talking about the last 2, 3 years, or are you talking about the last 7, 8 years? When you
Well,
say
the
you
last
had a
7
lot of
years,
costs?
again, that the fund balances went down. Like if you see from 2015 to 2023 it's about $5 million of funds being used. Those $5 million, about, I'm roughing estimate, is from budgeting the balance with those, the budget with those amounts. Now, that money is supposed to be used for, obviously, for unexpected costs. Had we budgeted the correct amounts, we wouldn't have to rely on those funds. Now, the last couple of years, now we had to dip into funds for actual costs that we needed to use,
Right.
unexpected costs.
I mean, I'm just reading Thomas DiNapoli's, so there's Thomas DiNapoli going back to 2000, 2001, when this whole like budgeting and the fund balance was introduced back then to help the localities and municipalities put together budgets. So localities and municipalities would not increase taxes unnecessarily. So this was something that was a tool meant to help taxpayers and also municipalities to stay on budget. But obviously, if you're saying the town that I moved to last year was completely in shambles 7, 8 years prior and didn't do anything to increase anyone, didn't live up to, cost of inflation, I mean, that's just ridiculous even here. I come from Westchester, so I know what high taxes are like. And when I moved to Putnam County, the idea was, I don't want to be living in a house that should cost me $25,000 a year. You know why? Because you don't provide me the kind of amenities that $25,000 a year provide, and I know that. I know I drive everywhere. I pay for insurance. I have a house. I have a budget. I do all those things. That's why I ask these questions. Because at the end of the day, your increases affect my wallet. I don't care if it's $1, if it's $10, if it's $20. I'm not saying it's your fault. But what I'm saying is get ahead of it. Like I've asked you before, what's the plan? Now you've increased it 2 years in a row. I mean, what, we're talking about 10 to 12% increase this year overall? What was it last year, 10 to 12% last year?
I believe so.
And you still don't have a fund balance, right?
No.
No. So if you increase it 10 to 12% again next year, will you have a fund balance? Let's go another year after that.
So it's not going to be an overnight fix.
No, it's not, but it's gradual.
If
Right.
you want to get the fund balances, you have to increase taxes 100%. That's the reality.
That would be
So-
overnight in 1 year, but I mean, like now, it's
Correct.
year 2.
Right, so
Right.
now we're looking at a corrective plan. We
Right.
have a full-time accountant.
Mhm.
Now, we are going to be doing a corrective plan. For this year, unfortunately, unless you want it to increase a lot more, right now, we're just meeting what we're expecting to have expenses. So going forward, as of like a 3 to 5 year plan, we're gonna come up with a plan to gradually try to get the,
And how do those special districts pay back to the general fund? Because I'm not one of those special districts. So I don't have my sanitation picked up. I pay like, whatever, is it $90 a month to get my trash picked up in this town?
that's, at that point, is like I said, we need revenue sources.
Right, but how does that get paid back? How does it impact me as a general fund person? In terms of my increase in taxes and liabilities?
It's not gonna impact you in that sense, it's just gonna increase the fund balance back to the savings.
Right.
But it doesn't affect you.
Do you increase individual, special districts, their taxes to get back the money that they're owing?
Theirs would increase to get it, yes. So their increase would increase, and then that means that they're paying more in those districts.
Mhm.
And that will it will hopefully give them a surplus over time. To
Right.
where then that surplus can be paid back
Correct.
to the general fund.
Correct. So the town's value is now 2.7 billion. It was 1.6 billion last year. I think we talked about that. And that's from your reassessment evaluation. So I love when people say that reassessments don't increase your taxes. That's just unfortunately not true.
Not sure. The budget is the budget.
No, the budget is the budget, yes. But what I'm being
the
taxed
budget
on is my
doesn't increase.
assessment. If it goes up $10, I will pay my share over that $10, $20. It's just those are factual. Your levy, it could be whatever. I get it. I don't pay more into your taxes just because my assessment went up. I understand that.
Okay, there you
But
go.
ultimately, I don't like the blanket statement, oh, if your assessment goes up, you don't pay more in taxes. Yes, you do. That's just how assessments and tax collection works. So ultimately, the school is heavily responsible for those taxes in this town, obviously, because Carmel Central School District pays its teachers crazy amounts of money. And I think these guys don't really have any say in it. This town is more than 50% almost of the number of homes that attend Carmel Central School District. So I think that's the big share of why you see the taxes the way they are. I think the town's increase is probably not as dramatic as the school is. So I think they're trying, from what I could tell, but like I said, maybe 3-4 years from now, you guys will actually have a fund balance if you're still around. Hopefully you are, and that's crucial.
She might not be after tonight.
You know?
She might be running.
I think people are pretty justified to feel the way they feel. And I
They
think
are,
that
and I
shouldn't
don't want
be-
you to think that we sit up here and we're like, let's see what we can do. This is hard. We sat in meetings, we all live here. I didn't
Yeah.
know how expensive. I have 4 kids. I know, I understand. It's hard. We don't make these decisions, on the fly. we sit here, we look at numbers, we crunch numbers. Christine and I sit in my office and we say, where can we cut things? We've sat hours trying to find places.
Yeah, things are pretty expensive. I think it's just, people need to understand, like, these things should happen progressively. And these assessments and stuff, they don't apply to everyone, unfortunately. Someone built a new house, 1990s assessment doesn't apply to them. You know, that's just how things go. I think if the fair share is done correctly, then I think everyone will probably be happy in the long run.
Yeah. Well, we were just put in a really tough economical spot. 7 out of 8 years with 0% tax increase, no spending. We're lucky that, if you want to call it that, don't want to put my police officers in danger, but there was 2 cars that were totaled out, and that literally reset the odometer on those cars. So without that, we'd be asking for more cars at the budget. That's because there was no money being spent on police cars. Lots of bills weren't being paid, and we ended up paying court fees, interest fees on bills that weren't being paid by the previous administration. There's a lot of stuff that's still coming in. COVID, hyperinflation, electric bills. I know it sucks for everybody, to pay heavy electric bills, but these buildings also have high electric. Trust me, I'm as anti-government as you can get. Tax is theft as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sitting here because being on the inside is the only way you're going to change it. But our budget is as tight as it can get. If you worked here and you got a 2% raise for the last, I don't know how many years, right? Less than COLA, right? What does that stand for?
Cost of living allowance.
Thank you. That means that somebody who at the end of the year goes, great, I got a year's worth of experience here. Next year, I'll make less money working here. The next year, 2 years worth of experience. Guess what? I make less money working here. Why? Because I'm only getting 2% when the reality is inflation is eating my money up by 5 or 7%. So the staff in this building are pretty much here because of the camaraderie. They're not here for the paycheck right now. And I got to say a lot for Jamie to keep them here because she, really goes down. She has a great concern for the people that work in this building because for what they get paid, I don't know how a lot of them lose.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree on the expenses part, but I think if there's an approach in the future and maybe, you guys, you run for 2 years at a time, right? So it's not like you can tell somebody, hey, my 10-year plan is X, Y, Z. But I think if there are enough people, I think Lana's been around for a while. I see your name on documents going back to 20-something. So yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with the story of the town, right? You'll be the right person to ask. But, it is tough for everybody. Yeah. And I'm not going to discredit people asking questions. And I think you guys are doing a pretty good job.
There is a silver lining.
Reason why I'm
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks. There is a silver lining. Believe it or not, a lot of businesses want to come to Kent. A lot of businesses. And as soon as we get this sewer infrastructure going, make it so it's not the town of Kent with the planning board. And I'll just straight up tell you that, lots of people come here, they spend a lot of money trying to build stuff here, and they get very frustrated and walk away. So
I feel the same way, don't worry.
Yeah. And those are
mutual feeling.
Yes, right. And those are tax dollars that are walking away. So we've got to do a better job at promoting these businesses. Because I can tell you, there's a lot of people that want to invest in the town of Kent.
I think Seth is waiting to give you some good news.
Well, before he comes up, I'm just going to address, and you can sit right away, because I know there are a lot of people that said they didn't know that it was budget, that we were doing a budget, and they didn't know any of this, and it was, I've seen some not so nice comments on Facebook about myself hiding this and everything. Nothing was hidden. Budget's done in every town in New York State at the same time. What you can do is before a meeting, I send out agendas and backup of everything that's going to be on the meeting. If you email me, or I don't know if Lana has paper on her, if you write your email address down, I can add you to my list so you get the agendas every week. Or not every week, whenever we have our meetings, first and third Tuesdays of the month. Because I will tell you this, I don't see all the comments on Facebook, thank God. There's just no way I can see, people are like, I tagged her 10 minutes ago and she's not answering me, and I don't see them all. And Facebook isn't a reliable source, so, please come to my office, call me, email me, whatever you want to do, but, come and get the information from the source. So, and Lana, do you have paper maybe? If anyone is not on the email list and wants to get the agendas and everything that we send out, you can write it down, yes?
I just want to know how the process works. So you're trying to override a 2% tax levy, so what's the process? We've had elections. I'm sorry if I'm ignorant
Yeah.
of how that works.
No, so, because I saw comments on there and people said, I didn't know I had to vote. So you don't vote on this. This is the town board votes on the override.
Okay, and so it's just among you guys to decide whether it goes through or not,
Correct.
based on what we're here today?
Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of towns in Putnam did vote to go over, and Westchester did go over the tax caps this year. I think. I'm sorry, I missed that. I don't know. So, all right, Seth, I'm sorry. I know you worked.
Okay, so what I did is we took the median priced home in town, and I went and dialed it back to 68%. And the increase in taxes last year, that assessment would have been $250,595. They would have paid between the general fund and highway to the town, they would have paid $2,051. This year, the 421, based on my handicapping of the tax rate, we're probably looking at about $2,294. It's an increase of $243 to the median house. That's what the increase that we're talking about in the town budget. That sounds insane, and I'm not saying $243 more in taxes is not insane, but relatively, and like I said, we're coming from low comps, because of the years of not raising it. It wasn't where it should have been. If we were at, levels that we should have been, we wouldn't be talking about an increase of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, anybody?
Okay. So then, we have to first vote on the tax cap.
Okay, do we have a
To
resolution?
close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for the tax cap.
Second.
Just one last, no more questions? Thank you, there we go.
Julie Boyd, and yes, I'm kind of related to him, but I give him more grief than any of you folks ever do. How do I say this? As taxpayers, we make a decision every May when we vote on the school board budget. That's where we can fight that biggest chunk. Having kids and grandkids go through this school district, it's a very good school district, but we do overpay a lot of people. Second of all, as a town, and where your feedback can impact how they do a budget is, we're very privileged here. We have an excellent police force. Rich and I go at it sometimes, but we do have a good highway department. And now we have an EMS. And we have a small business community. Your business community does a lot for your community in general too. And we'd like to improve that and enlarge it. But the reality is the DEP and the DEC and the DOT and all the large alphabets have a very large influence on what we can develop as commercial property in this town and what we can't, and what it costs engineering and everything. So in their defense, because usually I'm here complaining about the budget, their hands are tied on a lot of this. So unless we as taxpayers want to give up our police department or want to figure out how to pay for EMS a different way, or, we're never going to be Bruce Southeast, we're never going to be Patterson, we're never going to be Cold Spring. We are never going to have the same business foundation. We can enlarge it, but we're still going to be at a deficit. So as taxpayers, it'll be up to you guys to let the board know over the next year what you want to get rid of. Because we know everything goes up every year. And, they're kind of, I think, stuck in a hard place. And, I just felt like I need to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Sure. Oh, two more?
I'm Greg Iyer. Rizzo Metric Motors is my small business down the road here. I've been attempting to expand my shop for the longest time, and the property zoning that I have is IOC, Industrial Office and Commercial. I approached the planning board to try to expand my business that I've outgrown many, many years ago. And I've been met with nothing but ruthless behavior from the planning board. I'm contemplating a significant lawsuit. Those numbers are very tiny in comparison to what I've planned. So that I don't understand why that board exists. They should just have a permanent moratorium on building in this community. They are not. They should have a permanent moratorium and eliminate the planning board. It is nothing but abusive. And it's been perpetual. It's always been that way. They are well aware of it. Everybody on this board is well aware of it. Everybody in the community is well aware of it. And it's going on forever. If you drive between the beginning of this community to the north of us on Route 52, to the south in Carmel, I've been here since 1958. It looked better then in 1958 than it does today. Look at the Hollywood Motel, the foundations that are sitting there. Now there's some sort of a religious organization occupying one of the most innovative lumber companies in the state, tax exempt. Bob's Garage. Your historic building is in decay. It's falling apart. Windows and doors are on the ground. The deck is rotting. I mean, it goes on to the property in back of Kenny's Carpet. It reminds me of an old Wild West story where there's like tumbleweed going through it because it's an abandoned community. What is going on? And you're all well aware of it. This is no new news to any of you. They are running a Ponzi scheme in your own town, and you know it. When is it going to end? When? I want to contribute. I want to grow my business, and I'll pay a lot more taxes. These people are pleading with you, and I'm just trying to run my life and live the American dream. I want to grow a business. I've got a good reputation. I run a clean business, and I'm being run out of town. Why? The people that you've appointed there have the worst reputation of any of their colleagues. Any of their colleagues will stand up in this room and tell you about their reputations. And you all know it. And you let it continue. So I'm just letting you know that you're running me out of town, and I've got plan A and plan B. Those numbers are insignificant in comparison to what I've got planned. And you're paying back $10,000 a year on a $360,000 debt. Is that what I saw? I don't know how you guys think. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, how you can stand here and listen to all these people complain, and here I am trying to bring some growth to this area in the proper place off an interstate highway, proper zoning, proper everything, and I'm being treated like I'm a criminal. Why?
I wish I knew a little bit more about your applications, but I don't have anything to do with either of those boards, but I'd be interested in at least hearing from you what you think is going on.
Now, Janie
that's
knows
not
all
going-
about it. I've already approached her. I sat down and spoke with her.
But you know.
Right, and then she turns her back on me, you know?
It's.
There's just something fundamentally wrong here.
Are you saying with
Yes,
the
you did.
composition
No,
of the board?
I didn't turn my back on you. Nancy, can you explain our jurisdiction over the planning board? Or?
None. You appoint the planning board members only. The planning board is established
You
by
need
New
a
York
better
State
recruiting
statute,
process,
which
don't you
has
think?
laws about how
You're
they operate
totally
and
responsible.
how they choose their own consultants and their own attorneys. All you do is appoint and fund them. That's it.
And you have an excellent point, Greg. Without a doubt, you have an excellent point.
You do.
The recruiting process then needs to be changed, wouldn't you say?
Yes, a lot of it does have to be changed, right? Absolutely, absolutely. But there is what they call a firewall between the town board and the planning board.
Yeah, I understand all of those things, but you have to appoint reasonable people. Okay? Richie's paying what, $130,000 for a couple of catch basins? Modern day vehicles don't leak oil. They don't. And if they do, it's captured and taken care of before it goes anywhere. And if there's residual oil, it evaporates. The town is being run by that guy, and you know who he is. I hope that you guys get the message.
Thank you, Greg.
On a happier note, we decided to make this a family speech because it's just a family thing we do around here. I think we got the best highway, we got the best police, we have great services in this town. But you have to pay for it. We all have to pay for it. Since, well, I'm Henry Boyd, Boyd Well Drilling. I've lived in Kent here almost 55 years. Run a business up the street here, drilling wells. And I had to go up 20% of my business this year since the pandemic. So that means I have to go up 20%. I have people working for me. I buy products. I do everything. 20% this year, and I'm probably going to have to go up next year because I don't think I'm making a lot of money right now, even though we're having a nice drought, which is a good stimulant for me. But everything's going up. Today I went down to one of the local delis. I got a ham sandwich and a coffee. It was $12. A couple wives back, I used to go to, yeah, your mother, Sean. Used to go to the restaurant, you get a steak dinner for $5. And today, you go to buy a steak dinner, it's $40 to $50 for a good steak. This is just time, we just got to keep paying more and more, and the people just have to keep paying more if they want these services. So, the only suggestions that I have, Sean and I have talked about this, is your sewer district. If you can convert that to where the people pump the septic systems for the rest of the town and dump it, and we process it, you could be making we kind of researched this a couple of years ago. The last administration poo-pooed me on this. So, but we researched it, what the people pay for having a honey wagon pump your septic, and they take it to Danbury or they take it to Dover. And those guys, you know, they're spending, if they get 2 loads a day driving like that, they're happy. They could be dumping, you have to make sure it's all our septic from our town. But when they do that, you could make $3,000 to $5,000 a week on that septic system. I was told they need more water when they dump the sewage in. I volunteered to drill a well for them to have more water, but nobody wanted to hear me. It was me and Bill Knock and Sean came up with it.
Kathy Doherty also was in there. Yep.
Yeah. And well, by the way, she's the president of the Chamber of Commerce now.
Congratulations.
So I expect a lot of work out of her. But so that's one way we could make money. The other way we're going to end up saving money in the long run, I'm going to pick on Rich here for a minute, is the last administration promised me about salt. If you get salt on the roads, it's going to get into your wells, and then you're going to end up with a $12,000 to $15,000 filtration system, maybe more $20,000 for a UV, which is good for Sean. But we've got to stop using salt and putting more sand on the road. Last I researched it, a load of sand, a ton of sand was about $12, and this is a couple of years ago. But the same amount of salt was about $60. So you might be able to save some money there.
Cinders work better.
Huh?
Cinders.
Cinders?
We take all the wood, we burn it, we put cinders on the road. You save money 2 ways.
You can, yeah. But the downside of the sand is you got to go around, pump out the catch basins occasionally. So, but anyway, I'm happy. I pay $14,000 to $16,000 a year on my house. I started out paying, I think, $600 in 1970 when I bought my house. So everything goes up. I mean, it's been every year it goes up and up and up. So I hate to say it, but I'm for your budget. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's like generational. Because he would charge $1,000 or something, and we're like, Dad, we ain't making no money. We got to charge $2,000. Now my kids yell at me. They're like, "You're only charging $2,000, Dad. You got to charge $3,000." I'm like, I can't feel like $3,000 is like too much, but that's what it is. You get an idea that what some things should cost, and you can't begin to grasp the hyperinflation that we're dealing with. It is tough. And so not only do we consume more energy as the government, but we know that you're paying way more energy costs too. And it's not easy for us. We sit and work this budget continuously. I mean, right down to it. If somebody could find somewhere to save, man, we are all ears. We would love to hear it. But we're down to the point where you're just going to literally start cutting stuff. Rec, police department, highway. That's all that's left there to chop, unfortunately. Without bringing in commercial property to bring in revenue. All right.
All right.
All right, one more time. Any more questions? There we go.
Alex Sewell, Town of Kent. There's a lot of talk in here tonight about planning for the future, going forward into the next year and from our residents and so forth. What's the current comprehensive plan for the town, or the master plan? That dates back to like 2005 or 7 or 9 or so? Do we know exactly?
I think 2008.
2008.
Something like that.
2008.
Yeah.
And I know that there are grants currently for like smart growth, community planning grants and stuff like that. The town's most likely gone out for those in the past to offset the cost of a new master plan or comprehensive plan. But the last one that was written for the town, was that volunteers or was that outsourced via grant? Do we know how that was put together exactly? Was it volunteer?
I don't think they know.
No, but Lana would know.
Yeah, they weren't here. Kathy got a grant, and we had a plan.
Lana talking to the microphone. Sorry.
Thank you.
The town supervisor had received a grant, and we had a town planner and a specific, there was another company that helped. It's not an easy project.
Oh, no, it's huge, yeah.
It's huge.
Very
There's
expensive.
a lot of circulation, there's public input. It took a while, it took a big time. And then we also did a recreation one after that. So the two were done in 2008. I think they were done very well, as a matter of fact.
Do you recall who worked on those plans besides the people that were outsourced?
Myself, the consultants, there was a group effort.
Yeah. So,
I think there was conservation, we had almost all the committees in the town at a point.
so the committees in the town worked together to create this plan?
But it was spearheaded by a professional.
Yes.
Right. Do you recall that grant, what it was called? Sorry.
You're asking.
I'm sorry, I know.
2008.
Trying to pull out of the past here.
Memory is good, but not.
I know that the contemporary ones are very competitive, that's why I was asking. And I was wondering how much of it was a citizen measure besides being comprised of people that were from outside agencies. That's all. Thank you.
I just had a question for Alex, actually. When he was running, he talked about something about
Yeah, if you would, you got to just come up here so I can hear you.
tax pooling. There was a concept of tax pooling that I'm not familiar. It was a conversation I had with Alex, but I'm curious about it. That other towns pool taxes from the whole county, but Carmel doesn't, and that's part of the reason why the people. Yeah, I would like to know a little bit more about that.
Sorry.
Thank you.
And we can talk after this, or if you have any questions, or you can talk to them if you have any questions. We were talking about tax sale sharing revenue. That was before the compromise that occurred here with Kevin Byrne, where I think the town mentioned earlier they're getting something to the tune of $300,000 annually now. But at the time that we spoke, there was nothing shared back to the towns. The previous county executive shared around $1 million per town as part of a pilot project, but that was done away with when Kevin Byrne assumed office. So there is a plan in place going forward. Richie Othmer mentioned that he and Supervisor McGlasson did work on that. There were citizens that worked on that as well, myself included, but that's, neither here nor there. But yeah, there is a deal in place for a number of years where we will receive around $300,000. It's not in line with neighboring counties. John Boyd was at one of those meetings, and I remember, you spoke up about that too. So, when that compromise ends, maybe there's room to negotiate to generate more sales tax sharing from the county to the towns, but until that ends, that's the deal that we have.
So,
Sure.
So that sales tax revenue sharing though can only be used for capital projects. So it's not like we could just use it for anything. It's specifically only to be utilized for capital projects.
Yes. And that's neat.
And all the towns got together. We started back in March, and the only reason I know that is because I brought a 4-day-old baby to the first meeting that we had all together. And all the mayors, supervisors, Democrats, Republicans, we all came together. We had to agree. If we didn't agree, they weren't going to give us any money. And so we came to an agreement, and they passed it, and it went through. And so we will start getting that money in January. January 15th, we will get our first check. You can't. There will never be a set number. It fluctuates with sales tax, so we can't guarantee how much it's going to be. So, but we'll get the first chunk in January, and then every 3 months we'll get past there. Mm-hmm. Did that answer your question, or?
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's any help coming anywhere.
So the county does have a large surplus, and it would be really wonderful if they would share more with the towns.
And it's the sales tax they're sharing, not the surplus.
No, I'm sorry. They're not, they're sharing the sales tax.
Yeah.
But in addition, they have a surplus that.
True.
No, because I hear that because of the Department of Environmental Protection and the watershed or whatever, it's limiting a lot of the corporations that could come in here and share the taxes. So when I heard Wisconsin, there was actually shared taxes coming from other, places in the counties that we could have been getting. I was just curious about that.
Mm-hmm.
And there are
Yes.
lots of other small details I don't think we go over with trying to find money like from the county when it came to the $10,000 line item for the cemeteries. Not that many years ago, the county used to split that with the towns. So if we had 5,000, they'd give us 5,000. I think before COVID or during COVID, that fell off. And so I've talked to Kevin Burns and some legislators about bringing that back in. It's not much, but every little bit kind of helps. So there's so many details that we haven't shared with you tonight just because there are so many, but we are working hard to bring every nickel we possibly can to the forefront.
Okay.
No, we got one more.
What's
Yeah, getting back to the legislature, Jamie McGlasson and I, we went to a lot of meetings all summer and we basically had a mutiny and we forced the county to give us money. I was a legislator. It's probably the most useless job I ever had. And if you have less than 100,000 people in your county, you don't need a county legislature. And I think we should go back to the old Board of Supervisors where you have six, you have the 6 supervisors, and they'll have like a secretary in the county building, and they know what they need for the town. The legislature dilutes it. I know they're going to hate me if they watch this show, but
I don't think they're watching. It's okay.
we never got anything done. It was just, that's why I said, get me out of here. But we should go back to the Board of Supervisors, and there should be a countywide revolt about that, because they get paid a lot of money, and they all have medical benefits, and like I said, I felt very unproductive. I'd rather get yelled out for your unfilled pothole in the swamp. So.
Does anybody want to volunteer to start Rich's car?
Okay.
All right,
Nice.
going
You wanna
once.
do it again?
Going twice.
Okay.
All right, answer
All right.
everybody's questions. Go ahead.
Okay, so Lana,
You made a motion to close?
I did.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have to start with the tax cap.
Okay.
substitute, yeah.
All right, I make a motion for a resolution. Let's see, whereas the town board of the town of Kent has proposed a budget in excess of the 2% limit established in general municipal law, subsection 3-C, and whereas said request has been introduced before the town board of the town of Kent as introductory law, local law, 1 of 2025. Is it just going to be law 1?
Yep.
Okay, law number 1. Whereas a public hearing held on October,
It should be November 18th.
so November 18th, 2025, upon notice duly published and posted. Whereas public decision was heard and at such hearing concerning the merits of said introductory local law. And whereas in accordance with the Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and whatever the acronym of NYCRR Part 617 of the implementing regulations, the action under consideration constitutes,
Constitutes.
Thank you, constitutes, even with the reading glasses, in Oregon, a type 2 action. And now therefore be it resolved that introductory law, local law 1 of 2025 of the town of Kent is hereby enacted by the town board of the town of Kent as local law 1 of 2025 of the town of Kent. And be it further resolved that a true copy of the law is attached hereto and made part thereof. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, I make a motion to open the public hearing for the 2026 budget. Nope.
You left it open, right?
Oh, we did, I'm sorry, we carried it over from the last meeting.
So you want to close it?
I'm just reading my notes here from Yolanda about, so tonight we do have to add to the preliminary budget, we have to add that because the library passed, that vote passed, so that's not in there, so we do have to do a separate vote to add.
You have to close the public.
Okay. I make a motion to close the public hearing for the 2026 budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now first we add the library? Okay. Do you want to read the library?
Let's see if we got the right one. Property tax levy for 2026 budget.
I have, so I make a resolution to revise for the 2026 preliminary budget, the Town of Kent Library, whereas the following proposition appeared on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 election. Shall the annual contribution of the Town of Kent for the operating budget of the Kent Public Library being increased by $81,809 to the sum of $648,495 annually? And whereas the electorate voted in favor of the above proposition, it is therefore necessary to revise the 2026 preliminary budget to reflect the increase in the 2026 for the Kent Public Library. Now therefore be it resolved that the preliminary budget for 2026 shall be revised to reflect the 2026 budget for the Kent Public Library as $648,495. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Before we vote on the budget itself, can we talk about the grant track?
Can we still talk about, yes, we can, right? We can continue discussion on the budget?
Yeah.
Ann wanted to talk about something to add to the budget, an item.
Oh, sure.
That's okay, right?
Anything has to be,
Okay. So the supervisor and I recently attended a meeting with representatives of our grant firm, Millennium Strategies. And I can tell you that for 4 years, I have worked extremely hard on grants, and so have others in the town, in the police, highway, and so forth. And the good news is that working with this firm, we now have a very large number of grants to manage. And I know that grants come with matching costs, but some of those have been able to be covered through American Rescue Plan funding. And often we get grants for things that we have to do anyway, and so we end up spending less even when we pay the match, for example, for the PFAS amelioration and so forth. So overall, this is great news, but the challenge is these grants have to be managed. I've worked hard to push through contracts, for example, for Eustis Park, Well, now progress reports are due. And it's turning out that we almost have more than we can manage. Now, when Christina came on board as a full-time accountant, we knew that we would have some additional support for the fiscal side of grant management. But we still are struggling with just keeping all the documents organized, getting the progress reports written and in on time, and so forth. And I had sort of a watershed moment when we had this meeting because I recognized that the software that this company is now offering and the grant management services that they are offering are exactly what we need, and it would save the town from having to hire a part-time or full-time employee to manage all of this. And you may say, well, so what if a few reports don't go in on time? But if we're not successful with executing the grants that we have, we're then not going to be successful with future projects. And we've been trying to bootstrap our way up to the big money grants by being successful with some of the smaller grants that we've been able to get. And we also have had success with some large grants in highway and for the Lake Carmel Dam and so forth. So I would like to advocate and strongly recommend that we add to the budget, and this is new to some of my colleagues because the supervisor and I just discussed this today. For the first year, it's $10,000 for the software. That's an annual fee. That includes a detailed database where all of the documents that we have to track, everything from the insurance documents, the contracts, the progress reports, all of that will be in one location. My biggest nightmare was I don't get reelected and I have to spend the next 3 months getting all of these documents that I have somehow organized for the town, and I just have not had the time and resources to do that. In addition, they would do an onboarding process the first year to get all of those documents organized and in a format that they're accessible. And then the services that they would offer for $500 per month would be tracking all of the progress reports and actually preparing those reports. And I can tell you, it's extremely time-consuming. It's a lot of what I've been doing the last 4 years. So I respectfully request that we add to the budget this cost that does seem very high. However, I think some of it can be absorbed in our grants because we're allowed to budget for employee time and management services of grants. So when we have to pay for a match, some of that would go towards the fee. It's a total then for the first year of $19,500, I believe, and then after that, I think it was $16,000. Is that the number that you have?
That's what I have. If you
Yeah.
want to read the note.
So I realize it's a big ask. It sounds like a lot of money, but I can tell you in the end, it's going to save the town money. So I make a motion to add this to the budget. I hope my colleagues will agree. Otherwise, you're going to be given a lot of grant management responsibilities in the next few months.
Well, I have a question about it. So, can we not, put a request for a proposal out from other companies that deal with grants and see what other companies offer rather than just give this company? Oh, that's a lot of money.
We could go out to bid. I think it would be, probably would be related then to a change of grant firm overall, because I don't think you'd want to do your tracking and management with one company and your applications with another. Part of the product that they offer includes just being able to track some of the projects that we want to work on and having that information. So that's sort of the input side as well as the management side with that software.
I'm not sure what you just said. Don't you just hire another company that could do it for cheaper, better? I don't know.
We could certainly go out to bid for the complete package with another company. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, exactly.
But then how are we going to budget for that? Then we'd be waiting another year?
Well, I guess not wait till the last minute. And I don't know why people would have to look for your stuff. Everything I do, it gets, either I send a copy to Jamie, everything I do, or whoever it is I'm you're working with on projects. Are all your grants just in your name?
No,
On
we work
emails?
on them. Ann and I work on them. Ann and Richie work on
All right.
them.
So it's not like it's going to be lost, any of your work.
I'm telling you, based on my experience, this needs a database. And I don't have the expertise to build it myself. We could build it, we could put it all into Teams. We could hire a clerk to do that. It'd probably cost about the same as the services they're providing.
All right, well, I'd like to put together a plan before spending that money.
All right, let's just hold off for a second. Sorry, let's just wait till, there was a medical emergency in the back of the room,
Yes.
and so let's just wait until the
Yes.
door closes, so that way, sorry, everyone. Yeah, just for a minute. Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted it to be, yes. And there was our, Kathy, did you see who came in to save the day? And how was the response time? Amazing, I think, right? I'm looking at Kevin.
I wanted a little more, but.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to not have the distraction in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a no on that
So-
for now. But there's definitely gonna be more investigation on what to do.
So
Take it
what-
last second.
Okay.
While I agree that maybe we do need to go out, to bid to see if there's other companies that could offer that to us. Christina, can you give me the amount, I'm sorry, for what we currently pay the grant company? I think someone asked, Kathy or Sue asked, right?
I think it's $3,500 per month.
Wow. That was impressive.
Yeah,
Wow.
$3,500 per month, and this would take it up to $4,000 plus the software, plus the initial onboarding fee. I understand it's a lot of money.
Software, 10,000 annually.
Yes,
Right.
that's a license.
Yeah.
So now let me propose this. If we put the money into the budget and we go out to bid to see if we can get other proposals and go from there to see if we can get a better company maybe or something for less money.
And then we have a cost saving to put back into reserves.
Yes. Yes,
All right,
Richie?
Rich. I just want to say,
You have to come up here. You know the rule.
I'm managing 4 bridges.
I know it is.
In New York Branch right now. And Ann and I are just starting the salt shed barn over on Smoky Hollow. It's a nightmare. It's a real nightmare to do it, and if this could help us, and like Ann said, you put it in the administrative costs of the grant and you get the money back. But it's really hard to keep track of everything.
I'm totally a return on investment. I mean, we've made our money back, but I'm just not ready to
I
just
know.
dump money onto a company and not see some
Yeah,
kind
but
of
I
proposal.
like Jamie's suggestion, put it in there and then go out for bid.
I think we put the money, is everyone in agreement with that?
Well, we can vote on it,
Okay.
see what happens. So I move that we add $19,600 to next year's 2026 budget for the purposes of a grant tracking and management system through Millennium Strategies, with the proviso that we would be going out to bid for grant services early next year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want a roll
You want
call,
a
Sean?
call?
Yeah, put me on for a no, roll call it, yeah.
Yes, he
please.
does.
Aye.
Councilman Tempora?
Yes.
Councilman Boyd?
No.
Supervisor McGlasson?
Yes.
Motion carried. So now this was added to the budget.
So are we good? We're good with that? And now,
So I think her resolution said to add it to the
Yes, okay.
2026 budget, so that's another change that Christina has to make to the budget.
right, but we can still vote on the.
Now you have to.
Now we have to vote on the.
amended
You
budget.
added your changes.
Yes. What was, I thought you had spoken about the sewer. Tim-
Oh, what about it? What do you want to know?
But about the,
Oh, what, the 35,000? Or can we change it? I guess that was the thing. I suppose if we can add, I don't know,
Can that be a
however many
transfer
thousands.
later on?
Can we chop that 35,000 Barton La Judas bill between the general fund and the sewer district at this point?
Or could we do a budget transfer after a vote early next year?
okay, so then we don't vote.
There's something we can work down. I felt very confident, which is why I didn't pursue it overly.
So the
Okay.
money's there, and then they'll
Yeah.
just transfer it to another line to pay, right?
Right, it won't change the bottom line, it's just which
No.
budget
Where it
allocation.
comes out
And
of.
it's going to
You're
affect
not
the,
changing the total of your.
right,
No.
it's going to affect what's going to happen with the sewer district compared to the town.
Amendment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so
So
then,
now you vote on your budget.
yes.
We're getting there.
Sorry, I'm making sure we're following my list.
There's a lot happening.
Yes. Does someone want to read?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I make a motion to adopt a resolution to adopt the 2026 budget. Whereas on November 6, 2025, the Town Board of the Town of Kent duly held a public hearing on the preliminary budget for the fiscal year 2026. at which time the public was invited to attend and be heard, and whereas the town board heard all persons desiring to be heard in that manner, and the matter of the budget for the town for said fiscal year was fully discussed and considered by the town board, and now therefore be it resolved that the final budget, as incorporated herein and made a part hereof, is hereby adopted as the annual budget of the town of Kent for the fiscal year beginning the first day of January 2026, and that such budget as so adopted be entered in detail in the minutes of the town board. And be it further resolved that the town clerk of the town of Kent, Yolanda D. Capelli, shall prepare and certify in duplicate copies of said annual budget as adopted by the town board, and deliver one copy thereof to the town supervisor, Jamie McGlasson, to be presented by her to the Putnam County Board of Legislators. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We make a motion to open the public hearing for the sewer district fee schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sean, I'm going to let you take over this one, or Kathy.
Would you like to step up, Kathy?
I think she's mad at you again.
For
No, 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 no,
to
no,
Oh,
no. We'll talk later about why.
okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, Sean and I had been working on this. The fee schedule, you've already passed it, but we felt that it was more clear for people that were going to develop properties to have it put back into the town law. It was in 2013 law, 2015 law, and it was taken out in 2017 and put into a fee schedule. And it was never really clear, so we're putting it back into the town law where if somebody, again, was going to develop the property, it was more clear what was expected.
Correct. So this was something that existed, was removed, not recently, but in the past.
Fees were still intact, it's just that they were found in a resolution as opposed to within the town code itself.
Okay.
And it wasn't clear with the fees, like where, it didn't say like section 6179, it didn't say that. So a town board that comes in and doesn't know what the sewer district is, you wouldn't really know how to follow it. It would be easier to be in the town.
So this
law.
resolution is what we're proposing to clarify something that was just shifted around a bit.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. And the overall is that the fee is for vacant lots, which is about 10,000 gallons of the total allotment for the Kent Sewer District on unimproved properties, that when they go to come into, connect into the system. So once they build something and they connect into the sewer, they have to pay this set fee, given whatever their allotment is, and that fee is $50 per gallon. So if a vacant lot had 100 gallons of allotment and improved the property, hooked up to the septic, that'd be $5,000, right? I think that's what that would be. Yeah, so, all right, very good. I
Okay.
think.
And
overall-
then there's,
Sorry. It is a one-time initiation fee for the setup, and then you go and you start your annual, contributions to it. That fee is also paid at the time that you put forth your engineering reports. So basically, when you step forth to the planning board, you would have to pay whatever, usual retainers or whatever, plus this fee.
So we're not changing the fees?
We're not changing the fee, just how.
1,000 gallons, I can write a check to Town Kent tomorrow for $50,000 and give them 1,000 gallons.
no.
No, so so if you have one of those vacant lots, and Brian, you do, and so whatever the allotment is for that property, when you build something there, good luck, and then go to hook up, you have to pay that one-time initiation fee on there. And then that money is due at the time you present your plans to the planning board. That has been in the contract forever.
Forever.
That part
You have
hasn't changed.
409 gallons at your property, you would pay $20,000. And there's a $100 application fee to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
We're paying on the gallons that were already allotted.
Right, but you're not paying anything, you're not paying metered water either. That's what we're going to be talking about, vacant properties, but right now, we need something in the law that we know
Yeah.
to start with.
Yeah, if you were never hooked up to the system,
never been
this would be
hooked
the
up.
one time. But if you purchased a building that's, say, burnt down and you rebuilt it, no, you're already in the system. So this is specifically in reference to that 10,000 in there. But your property, right, that's not a vacant lot, so it'd be a little different.
It's a vacant lot.
It's vacant, but it's not in
You're
that
you're counting the
10,000.
VFW that was there and burnt down?
Yeah.
No, no.
I'm just talking out loud, that's all.
Well, there's electric on there, it always brought in after a site plan approval from town of Kent.
Yeah.
There's no hookup.
So I invite you to come and sit with Nancy, Kathy, and I on Monday morning, and, we can hash that out, there. We'll figure out something. All right? Good enough? Okay, all right.
We're not going to get in a fight again, are we?
What's that?
Oh, no, it was going so well.
I know.
And, we'll see where it is, because that is a bit of a gray area. That isn't one of those on the lot.
No,
and
that
there
was
something
counted-
pre-existing.
No, because in the vacant, when you go to the 10,000 gallons per day.
Yeah.
And the vacant lots, his is on the vacant
The
lots.
VFW is in that vacant lot?
The VFW that was not connected to anything.
Well, because that didn't exist at the building at the time.
Right.
So
But
if
when
it's
the-
in that 10,000 gallons, then so be it, then that's fine.
It's in the 10,000
Then
gallons.
then we'll check that out and we'll figure it out Monday morning. Just let everybody know that Nancy has been gracious enough to basically meet with anybody who wanders into the building practically and discuss town issues. And, which has been a great idea, by the way. I think we've covered so much ground with your time, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
But this was in the law and it was taken out?
No, it was,
It was
Go
in the
ahead.
law, and then we decided at one point, instead of revising the code, which costs money and takes time, and everyone wants to change the fee, we were gonna take all the fees and pop them into a fee schedule that we can just change by resolution easily and without any additional costs. But for this particular fee, it makes more sense to have it back in the code, because there's, formulas and all kinds of instructions. And the idea is that's where people who want to develop one of the sites would look first. So we decided it would be better to put the fee, take it out of the fee schedule and put it back in the code. But the fee's not changing, it's always been there.
You want to take a look at it before I read it?
Today's not quick to make a decision on that.
It's actually, we've been discussing it
it's
for
the-
quite a while.
Yeah, and it's the same, like Nancy just said, it's always been there, Brian. It's just that when it's taken out, the town board's not going to really change the fees because the MAP plan and report says $50 a gallon.
Yeah.
So you really, that's your Bible, okay? So that's what we're following.
So Kent Manor's not there, the 150 home or whatever.
Right.
So they're gonna pay $50 a gallon.
They're going to have
That's
to.
part of their 10,000.
Well, no, theirs is
I
this,
thought that was a lot more.
no, theirs is it was 60,000 gallons, and that was the contract between the three. It was 60,000 gallons for Kent Manor. It was 30 and plus 10, 40 for the town, and 3,200 for Frangel. Those were the set fees. But there's property off of Nichols Road, that there's property with 4,000 gallons, and that would be $200,000.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I think we're good.
Okay.
Again, the invitation still holds open for Monday? I'd like to see you there, actually. Okay. So, make a motion for a resolution.
No,
Oh,
I make
sorry.
a motion to close the public hearing for the sewer district fee schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now you can.
Thank you. I make a motion for a resolution. Whereas a local law amending section 6.1 entitled Sewer Use Connection and Rents was introduced as introductory law, local law number 2. Woohoo! The local law of the year 2025 before the town board of the town of Kent on November 18th. Whereas the public hearing was opened on November, do we open?
No, it was
No,
October.
October.
It was in
This is the
October.
first meeting. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
did we introduce it on the Thursday after Election Day when we were here?
That
So
would be
the
November
6th?
6th.
So November 6th.
November 6th. Okay, whereas the public hearing was opened on November 6th, 2025, and the public was invited to attend and be heard on the matter. Now therefore be it resolved that the introductory law, local law number 2 of 2025 is hereby enacted by the town board of the town of Kent as local law number 2 of 2025 of the town of Kent. And be it further resolved that a true copy of this law attached hereto and made a part hereof, I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now let's start the meeting. Our first item is from the Highway Department, from our Highway Actually, it's from our Town Clerk, on behalf of the Highway Superintendent, asking us to please go out to please go out to advertise for bid for 2026 for fuel and diesel oil, off-road diesel for the generators, bituminous concrete, highway equipment and operator, highway materials, and tree removal, 2 years. So,
Any comment?
so yeah, any board comments on this? This is pretty standard.
Yep, let's do it.
Excuse me? Yeah, we do. We do this every single year. There's no one left. Everyone here knows. We do.
Oh, there's people still left. Make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the town clerk to advertise for 2026 annual bids for highway services and materials in the town of Kent. Whereas the town of Kent Highway Superintendent wishes to advertise for annual bids for services and materials regularly used by the Highway Department, and whereas the town board of the town of Kent wishes to authorize its town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise for bids for highway services and materials, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby authorizes this town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise for annual bids for highway services and materials. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving along. The Sewer District, vacant properties. Sean, do you want to, you asked me to put this on the agenda for tonight.
Go ahead.
Again, Sean and I have been working on this, but I got some more information tonight from the assessor's office, so I'd rather follow that up, Sean, and then talk with Nancy on Monday.
Yeah. So
Right.
basically what it is somebody's making an application for a project that would be on the sewer district, and we just feel like there's some of the numbers aren't 100%, so we just
Mhm.
want to review them, so we're just going to table it, if that's what you're
Yeah.
referring to.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
So
fine.
you want to table it and put it on the December meeting?
Yes, put it on the December meeting. I want to look at the map plan and report again, and just check that, and Seth was good enough to work out some numbers, and he had a really good idea of how to do it, so I thought that would be.
I'd love due diligence.
Okay.
actually. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
make a motion to add an item to the agenda as late as it is for.
Wait, we're not there yet.
I'm sorry.
You're jumping ahead, Ann. I know you're tired, but you're jumping ahead. So we are also tabling the application for property owner, that authorization. We are tabling that tonight.
That's correct.
Okay. Moving along.
Oh, we have a resignation, sorry.
No, we just table it. Next is, we received an email resignation from Otto Romanino. He was the treasurer for the Kent Public Library Board of Trustees, and it is with great regret that we are accepting his resignation tonight.
I can read that if you want.
Okay, please.
I make a motion to adopt a resolution accepting the resignation of Otto Romanino. Whereas Otto Romanino has submitted his resignation as a member of the Kent Public Library Board of Trustees, and whereas the town wishes to recognize Otto Romanino and give thanks for his service to the town, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby accepts the resignation of Otto Romanino with gratitude and appreciation for his service to the town. I make that motion.
Second, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want to add your items first? I have an item as well.
Your choice.
You can go first.
Okay. So I make a motion to add 2 grant items to the agenda.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. So one, I think some of you know about, and one is actually something Supervisor McGlasson and I think you were in that meeting where we talked about a grant for housing assistance. So the New York State Homes and Community Renewal Technical Assistance to Pro-Housing Communities Grant Program was announced We started trying to work on this back in October, and I finally had a bit of a breakthrough on how we would get the necessary quotations. Eligible activities on this grant, Councilman Boyd, include zoning analysis reports and recommendations to increase housing capacity and streamlining and accelerating building permitting services. So I did have a conversation with Bruce Barber and John Andrews, who do a lot of the planning work for the town, and they agree that there are ways that some improvements could be made through our codes to streamline the permitting process. And they also think that there might be a possibility of doing the zoning analysis, which would be a precursor, gather some important information that would feed into a comprehensive plan update. So the question is, do we want to apply for a grant to do both of those things or just one of the two? I'm open to suggestions. Bruce is willing to provide the cost estimates for a grant. The deadline is now very close upon us because I first contacted John about a month ago and, you know, things got busy and I didn't bug him. But I could have this estimate by the end of the week and we could get this application in by the deadline, which was extended to November 27th. So do you want me to go after this? I can do the legwork with the grant firm if you all think it's a good idea. And again, should the focus be just streamlining our codes, or should it also be a larger amount of funding to try to do some analysis of our zoning? I've heard people say that the way our zoning is set up is not the most friendly to promote additional housing. Now, I know we really want to focus on commercial development, but on the other hand, it's very frustrating for individuals who want to do some kind of a residential project in town or a mixed-use project if our codes are actually going to impede that. So I leave it to my colleagues to let me know what you want me to do.
Yeah, I think generally people think that residential pulls on like tax school dollars and stuff like that, but I think our enrollment has been plummeting in the school, so even if we brought more residents and brought more kids in, I don't think it would affect our school taxes at all. What's our side of it? What's the?
You know, I don't know if this document includes the match. That's a really good question.
There was a lot of people in here this evening that didn't want to spend much money, so even though it's all return on investment, I get it. I'm a businessman, I know how that works. But
well, my computer hasn't died yet. I might need a few minutes to look and see if I can figure out what the match is, because unfortunately they did not include
is it something we have
that.
to vote for on this evening, or is it just something that we could?
Well, since the application is due the 27th of November, if we don't vote to approve it tonight, I won't be going forward with it, so.
Okay, so figure out what the match is, then I can't vote on it.
Do you
without
want to
knowing
set
that.
a cap on the match and we'll vote to approve it conditionally depending on the match?
I'm sure if that's feasible.
Well, what do you think is a feasible match?
And very
after
often
looking
that
at
can be
this
done
budget-
in kind, right? So if people in the town work on a steering committee with the grant, their hours get clocked at the New York State volunteer labor rate, and that contributes towards the match.
Yeah,
and
if
again,
you
I'm
want
not
to do it
voting.
with, pending what the match will be.
And as Councilman Ruthman often says when he's here, we can always turn it down if we get funded, so.
All right, while you look for that, I'm going to add my item to the agenda.
Okay, I also do have one more on
I'm
grants.
sorry,
so I'll
well, do you
let's
want
go
to, you were looking that up, so I figured I
Yeah,
probably
go
should go.
ahead. Thanks.
Okay, I make a motion to add an item to the agenda from the planning board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
They voted on November 17th to, refund any funds remaining in the escrow account for Jamie Smith Fitness Resolution. They voted unanimously, so I'm asking us tonight to just return the escrow amount. After all invoices have been processed. Okay, so are we all good with it? I'll just
That
make
sounds-
it on the fly.
Yep.
I make a motion to return any funds remaining in an escrow account for Jamie Smith Fitness, tax map 2-1-4. Whatever amount is left in the account after all invoices have been processed, I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'm still searching this 7-page document. I don't see any mention of a match. Maybe there isn't one. So, shall we go ahead and vote that we will submit the application, and then if you want to set a cap on...
Determine if we will proceed after we know if or what the match is?
Yeah.
How much is the grant?
Well, that would be up to us. The ballpark numbers I got from talking with our consultants is that the streamlining analysis, which one of them is right now doing for another town in Putnam County, might run to about $20,000, counting attorney time and consultant time. And the other, the zoning analysis to improve housing opportunities might go up to about $50,000. The maximum amount of funding you can request is $250,000, but for a town of our size, you certainly want to hit that sweet spot where your request is not exorbitant, and because they're going to want to fund as many opportunities as possible. So I think the numbers we're looking at would be reasonable in view of the maximum award.
Would this go towards updating the master plan?
It would provide data that would be useful when that time comes, and therefore might save some money, just as we've been working on the NRI, and we got, the natural resource inventory, and we also just got the funding for the open space plan that we're about to start. All of those things are going to feed into a comprehensive plan update. So I've been trying, and we still don't have a grant for the actual plan. We've applied for Smart Growth again. Hopefully we'll get it this time. But meantime, we're trying to put together as many building blocks as we can with funding to facilitate that if and when we get to it. And we really have to do it because we're coming up on that 20-year mark.
So bottom line, what does it cost us?
We don't know.
Yeah. Then
And that,
I would-
as great as it is, I'm just, I think we vote on it just in case there's no match or something. I would hate
That's
to
fine.
not, but,
Let's say, if it's a match that could be met through in-kind.
yes. Meaning billing it from our hours.
And I will find out from the grant firm, and we will make the go, no-go decision on applying based on that.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise you're just tone deaf from everybody who's just sitting here who don't want to pay more taxes. So-
Exactly. And so even if it's something that the town ultimately has to do, it's hard to think in terms of putting in a cash match on something right now. I understand that.
So predicated on what our, match is on it, then, so we'll vote for it, but then turn it down if necessary.
All right, so.
Do you want to wing a resolution?
So I move that we submit an application to this Homes and Community Renewal for technical assistance, let's say for both streamlining permitting processes and to analyze our zoning, with the proviso that the application will not go forward if the match exceeds what the town can provide through in-kind and volunteer labor. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. The other one is intriguing. There is a newly formed nonprofit corporation, Municipal Solar Partners, that is working with a cohort of towns to develop solar facilities on municipal buildings. They have some grant funding, and so they are offering us at no charge to come in and do an assessment of what it would cost and actually develop a design for a solar facility that would be on a roof of, say, for example, the highway garage. And given the fact that I think our budget for electric power for NYSEG for the coming year is something like $35,000, I think it would be worth getting this free engineering done to see what the cost would be and what the return on investment and time for that return on investment would be, whether it would be then worth funding to actually develop such a facility. But we would not be obligated to develop it, and this company would not be guaranteed the work if we decided to. They would bid alongside any other contractors for that work. So basically what we're being offered is free engineering services and a cost estimate for doing a solar facility for the town. What's that?
Nothing is for free. But they're gonna come in, they're gonna tell you this is what you're gonna do, this is how you're gonna save, and then by the way, it's $100,000.
And if it turns out that it's more costly than it's worth, then we don't do it. But I mean, for example, when we had the opportunity to switch our streetlights in the town to LEDs. There was a small upfront cost to do that, and the town board turned it down a couple of times, and at some point, we said, let's look at the math here. We're going to spend, I forget what it was, $1,600 to save $3,000 a year. It was worth it. So we would at least have that assessment.
Didn't the town pass something a few years ago with solar, and everybody was supposed to get a certain amount of money back?
Right.
And I want to know how well that did.
So a lot of us signed on with Ampion. There were two opportunities there. One was to have, and now of course the name escapes me, there was one where you would have to deliberately opt out, and that was done down in Westchester, and we chose not to do that because residents were concerned that they would we were concerned they wouldn't know about it and they wouldn't have the opportunity to opt out. So we went with a company called Ampion, where it's a voluntary opt-in program, and about 51 or 53 families' accounts opted into Ampion. I have that. And yes, there's a small discount. NYSEG has made it as difficult as possible for us to know the savings that we get. It has a very strange name, but it's at the very bottom of the electric bill as a negative charge. And the hope was that it would be as much as 10%. I think the savings have been more like 5%. And of course, at the same time that this went into play, NYSEG's bills began to skyrocket, and so people were concerned, hey, I signed into this program, and my bill went up. Well, that was because NYSEG went up astronomically. We are still getting the discount through Ampion, and the town actually signed on with Ampion as well. Again, there's a little credit at the end of every bill, but since NYSEG is going up and is about, it's about to do another 35% increase, and we've been urged to go on those public sites and protest that, and I hope everybody will do that. Right. So, if a solar facility could be built for something that would give us a return on investment in, say, 3 to 5 years, it might be a very good decision. If it's a 15 to 20-year return on investment, then no.
They had all solar everywhere, and they were all taken down. I'm just saying, I never heard anything good about it.
Well, there are some communities that are going to be working with this company that have the capability to generate enough power that they could actually offer it to residents at a discount price. I think with the size building that we have, chances are, if the highway garage is the best site, and that's what a tabletop computer program told them might be the best site. If they do the site visit and determine that that is the location, probably the facility there would be able to supply the town's needs. It probably would not go beyond that. So that's what we'd be looking at. But again, $35,000 a year is a lot of money, so might be worth looking into. Anyway, they do have grant funding, so this engineering work and assessment is free. There's no obligation to the town, bottom line. So I would like to join the cohort. I'm hoping that you all will allow that and see what they have to say.
Any board comment?
It's a four-letter F word that I can agree with.
I beg your pardon?
Ow.
I'm sorry, I did not hear that.
He said it's a 4-letter F word he can agree with.
Free.
But nothing's free.
Thank you for my laugh of the day, Sean. At this point, I needed it, so.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, yeah, I mean, if it's free and it's going to give us information that we can, we don't get high
That we
pressure
can,
to buying
we
stuff.
do or don't have to use, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that could probably go to like our
Yes, Ann, can you-
climate smart stickers that we
I know,
get?
so I don't have it in my packet, I don't think. Oh, here it is.
An error in the title.
Okay. Yes. All right, so I will read this. The resolution wording is actually a little odd. As the grammarian, I will tell you that it would power municipal operations at no cost to the town. It's the engineering study that will be at no cost to the town, but okay. So I make a motion to adopt a resolution for an engineering study for creating a community solar array in the town of Kent. It should not say landfill site. This should say in the town of Kent, because we're not talking about putting it in a landfill. We're talking about putting it on a rooftop. So my apologies. I guess the draft resolution they sent had that. Yes. Okay, so whereas Municipal Solar Partners, a nonprofit firm, has proposed performing an engineering study of creating a rooftop solar system that would power municipal operations, and such study would be at no cost to the town of Kent. And whereas if the project is feasible, RFPs would then be issued to build the array, which would be located on the property of the town of Kent if the town of Kent so desires to have that RFP issued. Now therefore be it resolved that the attached proposal from MSP is accepted. And I modified the wording there because, again, we need to, we don't want to be required to issue the RFPs if the study shows that it's feasible.
Do I have a second?
Oh, okay.
Is there a motion?
I make that motion.
Oh, sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I can
Sorry,
forward that to
sorry.
you right now.
Okay.
Thank
You're
you,
tired.
everybody. We'll
We're all
see what they
tired.
can do here.
Everyone's yawning. Okay, you're up.
I'm up. Okay, I make a motion to adopt the vouchers that are over the threshold for November 18th, 2025. Card member services, $5,349.95 for the town of Kent credit card October statement 2025. Semco Water, $2,477.33. Monthly operations October 2025, Kent Water District Number 1. Semco Water, $2,003.08. Monthly operations October 2025, Kent Town Center. FMC Commercial Cleaning, $3,525. October 2025 contract Town Hall, PD and Highway. Gabrielli Truck Sales, $5,202.84 for municipal repairs for town vehicles. G. Haynes Holdings, Inc., $3,435 for the Lake Carmel Parks District Memorial Bridge Historical Marker. Hogan, Rossi, and Ligori, $7,560 for legal services for September 2025 and Kent Country Square. Hogan, Rossi, and Ligori, $5,416.63. Retainer for legal services for December 2025. Magna 5, $4,826.85 for Town Hall server service October 1st to October 31st. Magnify, $5,329.25 for the Town Hall server service from 11/1 through 11/30. Managed Technologies of New York, $2,426.15 for Kent PD 2025 third quarter billing. Managed Technologies of New York, $2,769.24 for IT support for the weeks 11/3 through 11/16, 2025. New York State Department of Civil Service, $271,622.51 for employee benefits for prepayment for December 2025. Office of the State Controller, $21,890 for Justice Court, October 2025. Pitney Bowes Reserve Account, $4,000. Town Hall Postage Meter Refill, November 2025. Royal Carding, $4,850.52 for Kent Recycling, October 4th to October 31st, 2025. Stevenson Equipment, Inc., $14,004.82 for highway damage to rental equipment. Win Waste Innovations, $11,272.31 for Lake Carmel Sanitation, October 20th through the 24th, 2025. And Win Waste Innovations, $9,967.78 for Lake Carmel Sanitation, October 27th through October 31st for 2025. I make the motion to adopt as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I mean, we had so much fun tonight, I hate to do this, but next Tuesday is supposed to be our second board meeting of the month. We are going to cancel it, because then the board meeting following is December 2nd. So it was 3 board meetings right in a row due to how Veterans Day and Election Day fell this month, or this year. So we are canceling next Tuesday's board meeting, and our next board meeting will be December 2nd, where we will discuss the vacant properties in the sewer district.
Lucky us.
Any board announcements?
In view of the late hour, my library announcement will consist of thank you residents for passing the budget increase for the library. Please look at their website to see all the wonderful things they are doing and will do with the budget increase. And also thanks to everybody who came out and supported our food drive last Saturday. It was phenomenal, very heartwarming. I love this community. Thank you,
Yes.
everybody.
We had so much food that we didn't know what to do with it all. I didn't expect as much as we had received, but the library took everything and they said thank you, and they are also asking, please, no more donations.
It was that good.
So you know that was a good food drive.
Yeah.
So, do you have any?
Yeah, fireworks. everybody volunteer. We need volunteers for the fireworks committee, like now. So like, we can't hold up, we gotta kick it off, otherwise we may not have
I know.
fireworks.
You should have done it earlier now that everybody's gone.
If I yelled for fireworks, it may not have worked out the same way, though, so.
Yeah.
Because it's the 250th anniversary, do you think a firework will be overdone, through the county?
Correct, is,
Probably-
are there-
It
well, the-
probably will be.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, if you're having a hard time, I'm just saying it had to.
so the vendor.
What if we had a fireworks show, since everyone's going to be having fireworks shows because it's the 250th, right? What if we held off and we had one when we have community weekends? And we had our community day, and then at night we had fireworks.
Or we just bus some people to somebody else's?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So we are lucky the vendor is holding a spot for us, but we have to reply to them very quickly, otherwise we may not have it. And I think it will have a lot of feedback negatively if we miss out on fireworks next year.
Right, and, well, okay, so, and this is the same company from this year?
It is the same company, yes. So, everything's a learning lesson, right? And I think, so this time, it was a handshake of a contract. It basically always has been, right? And so this time it'll be, we need, a certain amount of, whiz bangers and balloon boomers and, and a contract written out to see exactly what we get.
When I did it, that's how it was how many large ones, how many.
Oh, really? Yeah, nope, 0 on that one. Yeah, no, it was just a handshake and, how much you got? This is it. This is
Well,
what
I'm
we
not
get.
gonna lie, we're lucky that this firework company even does our fireworks anymore.
Yeah.
Because no one paid them one year.
Yeah.
So we are very fortunate. We are very fortunate that they continue to do our fireworks shows.
Yeah, they wouldn't answer the phone call for a while.
Yeah,
And then we
I had
had to,
I had to harass them.
yeah, and then we had to come up with the money to pay them for them to even begin to have a conversation with us.
Actually, no, I negotiated because we only had a certain amount of money, and I said, if we give you this, can we just call it even and can you do the show? And
Yeah,
they agreed.
yeah.
So we are fortunate that we even had fireworks. Even if you think they were crummy last year, we are fortunate.
So as the president, the new president of the chamber, I will send out a letter in January to everybody that is a member and ask for donations.
Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd rather.
Look at that. Her first thing as president.
First executive decision.
Law number 1 for 2025.
You,
So,
you two
thank
are
you
getting
for that.
along. You two are getting along
Oh,
too
yeah.
well.
That's
I don't know if I can deal with this. It's a little weird.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. Is everyone good up here? Does anyone out there have any comments? Come on, Kathy. Nothing? Sue, nothing? Okay. I know. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Good.
Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.